What's up, Moon Goons? Welcome to Horrible Horror, the podcast where we watch the worst of the worst in horror movies. Movies so bad they're scary. I'm your host, Mr. Marshall Hampton. Join me as always, Mr. Aaron Southworth. Aaron, say hello.
Ahoy hoy.
Ahoy hoy. Good enough. This week's movie is a obscure, odd, one-of-a-kind, guess you call it slasher from the mid to late 80s.
Yeah, I guess you could maybe call it a slasher.
I mean, it's about a single killer, so I don't know, but it's called Bloodhook.
Bloodhook.
A fishing movie. Let's focus on this.
Bloodhook, a fishing massacre.
Yes. Initial release was in 1986. Now, it was picked up and distributed by Troma, but it's not an official Troma movie.
Yeah, I got fucking dick teased on that one when I saw Lloyd Kaufman presents, and it's like Troma Films. I'm like, all right, it's gonna be kind of slapsticky, kind of fun, kind of kooky ooky. All right, I kind of like those kind of horror movies. Nope.
So it's written by Larry Edgerton, John Galligan, David Herbert, Jim Mallon, Doug Rand, and Gail Anderson. That's 6 fucking writers. So right off the bat, you know you're in for a real shit fest when a movie has that many writers.
A lot of cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah. So nothing's good. It's gonna be bad.
Too many chiefs, not enough Indians.
It's also directed by Jim Mallon, who's one of the directors or writers too.
Everyone wants to be a hero. How many other analogies?
Now, but the thing is, Jim Mallon, he never really directed another horror movie or anything after this, but he went on to a pretty successful career, or at least a successful stint, we'll say.
Okay, lay it on me.
As a producer, director, and writer for Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Right on.
He was there on part of that show for years and
so
years.
The guy who actually helped create this movie,
yes,
went on to be a part of a
cult phenomenon show that makes fun of bad movies.
fun of movies exactly like this.
Yes. And I'm just kept surprised. Like, this should have been on that show.
Oh, absolutely.
But, yeah. And for years he was part of that show. He was a big part of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, you can find this movie on Amazon Prime for free right now. So I'm not sure if it's on YouTube or anywhere else, but it's free on Amazon. The taglines for this movie are kind of ridiculous. Of course, they're all fishing related, which is kind of funny. There's like 4 of them. One's blood sports of the humankind, live bait, but not for long, and you can't worm your way out. And then simply the last one was fishing was never like this. And those were the taglines.
I like live bait, but not for long. That's my favorite one. Yeah, 4 separate taglines.
Yeah, 4 separate ones. And in the cast, there's really no one worth mentioning because no one really went on to do much after this of any significance. But which is weird because there's at least 1 or 2 people in the cast that actually, in my opinion, do a pretty solid job and crush the part they have, knock out the park. I'm surprised we didn't see her or she didn't go on to do more other work later. But anyway, so yeah, really no one worth mentioning that you're going to recognize in the cast. So the movie itself, we're going to bait this hook. We're casting out. Here we go. The movie opens right away with the credits. There's no cold opening on this at all. After the credits, we're taken to a small lakeside cabin where the song Fishing for Your Love plays. And for some reason, this cabin has its own a motorized mine car gondola thing on tracks.
Yeah, it's kind of strange. I haven't seen anything like it before.
I've never seen anything like this before.
It totally makes me think of a coal town or something where it was just they'd be loading coal and shoving it up the small bluff or whatever to get to the next location.
Or maybe even a logging town or something, but yeah.
Right. It has some sort of industrial purpose, or it did at one point, but it's basically just being used
as a trolley.
Yeah, as a trolley to help people down kind of a steep hill. But it's very much walkable.
Very much so. And we see this kid riding down in this thing to a cabin or a boathouse or something on the water where his grandfather's fishing on the docks. On the dock is an old tape player.
And when we say tape player, it's reel to reel.
Yeah, reel to reel.
Yeah, it's not like a cassette tape. It's a reel to reel player.
Yes. Which this fucking kid has to ask what this thing is. And
hey, fair enough.
No, I had an issue because I'm this kid's at least 10 years old. He would know what a fucking tape recorder is in this day and age. I'm not saying because this is a pre-1986, so let's say this is.
They said 17 years ago.
Yeah, so 70s, late 60s, maybe.
69.
I'm still saying a 10-year-old kid those things are common enough. People know what music are. He's gonna know what a goddamn tape recorder is.
It looks weird. I got no problem with it. You love bashing kids when they ask dumb questions. I feel so bad for your daughter when she starts asking a bunch of questions. You're like, come on, kid, get with it.
Come on, I'm not that bad with it. Anyway, the grandfather explains how it works, and he even speeds up the track so it's played in like fast forward. Which apparently pisses off all the nearby crickets and cicadas because they start going ape shit. And I don't mean they start attacking the old man or anything, which would have been awesome if they did.
They start making this crazy
noise. They just get really, really loud cicada noises. And then the old man like grabs his face like it's burning off or something, and he just falls headfirst into the lake, never to be seen again. And it looks fucking ridiculous. It's a real what the hell moment that you're watching this.
But like, with the cicadas getting loud, there's also like distortion coming from the tape player from the reel to reel. It gets fucking loud.
It gets loud.
Like I was watching it and I had to turn my television down because I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. There's distortion coming from the tape player. The cicadas are going nuts and the guy's like,
well, it's not that the tape player is that distorted. It's that he's playing in like fast forward
But there's
mode.
an electric noise that's going with it. There's some sort of distortion, some sort of other high pitched squeal that's coming.
I think it's just a vocalist
coming from
high pitch.
No, it comes up later. It's fucking annoying.
Yeah, so the kid then just stands there at the end of the dock looking at his grandpa's hat floating in the water and then just turns around and leaves. So the kid's like, all right, well, there went grandpa.
It's a great child actor right there.
Great. No reaction to grandpa just loses
watches
shit.
him fall into the water and sink away.
Sink away.
And then he's like,
all right,
I'm going to go play with my G.I. Joes. And just runs off.
Yeah.
No screaming.
No screaming.
Grandpa, nothing. Just,
all right, I'm gone. As Aaron, you said, we cut to 17 years later now, and we meet our main cast of characters as they drink and drive down some rural Wisconsin roads.
I like these guys so far.
There is a weird line that one of the guys says that hippie music makes me feel like I'm full of chowder.
I know.
Which kind of made me scratch my head and think like, that's a weird way to describe how a music since they like full of chowder. Like, that's really weird.
I don't know if that was an 80s saying he was trying out. I was like, come on, guys, I'm going to have this sweet new saying.
Yeah.
That makes me feel full of chowder. Hippie music makes me full of chowder. Man, this long drive just makes me feel full of chowder. Boy, when the Cardinals lose, I just feel like I'm full of chowder. Huh?
Get that on a shirt.
What do you think, guys? Is it going to work?
It's going to work? Yeah, it's going to catch on. So then we just cut to a close-up shot of a fish getting his head cut off by Leroy Lukey. And good old Leroy Lutke is kind of this cranky older man who always looks pissed off at this point because it's like he has this look like he's like those dang kids just won't keep off my yard. He's got that look in his face.
It's like that resting bitch face kind of thing going on. Resting grumpy man face.
And he sounds like he's more Canadian than from Wisconsin.
Yeah,
he's got a really thick
Norwegian type.
Yeah,
like a lot of Northern Europeans, a lot of Norwegian, Swiss, Danish, they all settled in Minnesota. A lot of them, especially like a lot of the Norwegians, settled in Wisconsin and Minnesota and those areas. So he's got that thick,
real
accent.
Thick, yeah. So this RV pulls up and his family gets out looking for the campground nearby. Leroy points him in the right direction. And then the father goes on a really weird and kind of crazy rant about putting up signs and taxpayer money. And he's just like angry that there's of this. And then he's like flipping the switch. He's just like, oh, I'm also a doctor from Illinois. Do you sell bait? Which I find hilarious. He asked Leroy if you sell bait because they're standing right next to us.
It's a bait shop.
There's a giant sign on the side of the building that says live bait. And it's like,
that's all really? It is. It's a goddamn bait shop.
Yeah, that's all it is.
You sell bait at your bait shop, sir?
Yeah.
Fuck.
The doctor's son is also fucking fascinated and nearly overwhelmed in awe at a goddamn stud finder. Again, like these kids have no idea what anything is in this movie.
I mean, I don't mind this. They're kids, and you're just like, fucking kids should know what it is.
It's not like he's 5. The kid's like 13 years old.
I didn't know what it was. Because I use a fucking laser-guided stud finder to find my fucking studs because I'm in the 21st century, motherfucker.
Well, but I mean, this is the old school stuff. My dad had these things all the time.
Never seen one.
All right, fine.
And guess what? Dad's a doctor. He's a urologist. He deals with dicks and pee holes all day. You think that guy who does any handiwork? No. So the kid's probably like, what the fuck is this?
All right, fine, whatever. He's still
leave the kid alone, Marshall.
He's still in all of this fucking thing, and so Leroy gives the kid the stud finder as a gift and doesn't charge the dad for his bait.
Yeah, because the asshole's trying to break it with 100.
Yeah,
what a dick.
Yeah,
here's your $3.57 worth of minnows.
Yeah,
go change your 100, and then you can tell that like Leroy Lookie is just kind of like, fuck her. He's like, just take him.
So before they leave, Leroy switches into kind of like doomsayer mode and tells them in like an ominous tone that fishing's okay, but the lake is not a playground, and we all have to treat the water with respect. And then Leroy just kind of stares at them as they get in the RV and they leave.
With rich, resting, grumpy old man face.
So we go back to our main group who arrive in town, and on the way in they stop by this giant muskie statue.
Yeah, it's this huge. It kind of reminded me of Pee-wee's Playhouse when they stop and they see that giant Tyrannosaurus Rex and the giant
these were big in like the 60s, 70s, 80s. Like these roadside attractions.
And it makes me kind of pine for those days.
Yeah, it does. Stuff. But for those who don't know, a muskie is a type of fish. So here's our educational moment for the week. I've done one of these in a while. A muskie is a relatively uncommon freshwater fish native to North America. Is the largest member of the pike family, and they're typically 28 to 48 inches long and weigh between 15 and 35 pounds. Some have reached up to 6 feet and almost 70 pounds long. Their normal habitat ranges from northern Michigan to northern Wisconsin to northern Minnesota through the Great Lakes and into Canada. Adult muskies are normally like kind of the apex predators of where they occur naturally. And fun fact, the NBA team, the Minnesota Timberwolves, were actually originally named the Muskies way back when, before they became the Timberwolves.
Oh, that'd be kind of cool if they were still the Muskies.
Yeah, they used to be.
That'd be so silly.
Which is probably why they changed it. Probably why they changed it. So now back to the movie. All right, so the group meets the self-proclaimed fishing maniac, Danny Dobbins, who challenges them to a casting contest. One of our guys, Finner, that's his name, Finner, accepts the challenge, and then kind of like Tom Cruise and Paul Newman in like The Color of Money.
Yes,
he pulls out like as they pull you pull like a high-end pool cue if you're a ringer or something like that. Finner produces this big old case and pulls out his super fishing rod.
Yes, he's got
complete with custom hand grips and tassels.
Yeah, he's got his little tassel on there too. It's kind of, I kind of loved it. I was like, oh shit, this is exactly what I was thinking. Color of Money, same kind of thing. It's like, here comes this local fisherman champion has bit off more than he can chew.
Yep.
Finner's got something up his sleeve.
Yeah, he makes his cast, hits the target, and good old Double D gets pissed off and accuses him of cheating.
Because tassels.
You can't use tassels. Tassels aren't allowed on fishing rods. That's cheating. So anyway, they ramble on. And in the background, there's a guy on the stage announcing the big muskie fishing contest that is the headline of the Muskie Fishing Festival. That's like a weekend-long event up here.
Yeah, whoever catches the biggest muskie wins $5,000.
Our group leaves Double D alone, and they meet Bev, who introduces herself as the contest hostess and gives Finner a hat for beating Double D in the casting contest.
Hat and a shirt, and she's got a little something for Finner.
Yeah.
She's smitten with that one.
She's a cute girl.
Yeah.
She's bubbly, big eyes, and just big bubbly girl.
Great smile.
Yeah, real
like
pretty.
that girl next door kind of feel.
Yes.
The
country girl, farmer's daughter type thing. Like not really a farm, but so while they're talking, up comes this old man who tries to grab Rodney's, boombox, which is playing music. The old man's pissed about the loud music and rants. He's going on rant. He calls the boombox a goddamn headache machine and says that no one here can stand to hear that kind of crap. Bev kind of intervenes and kind of gets the old man away. It leaves the group alone.
Yeah, he's got a big weird hearing aid, and he's like all grumpy looking and kind of.
Yeah, a lot of grumpy Gusses in this movie.
Yeah,
a lot
really.
of grumpers.
Grumpy Grumpersons.
We go back to our main group. They're driving up to Peter's family's cabin. We're sitting in a chair out front is this fat guy cleaning an M16 and ranting about some woman on the radio, not knowing her trivia about whatever
weapons
or
about
something.
Guns. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah. The fat guy introduces himself as Evelyn Durst. He rambles on about he was in the army and trained in satellite communications.
He was a nom.
Our main dude, Peter, tells him that he's on his property. Evelyn flips out and snaps, saying, "Don't try to push me around or I'll torch this place. I will burn it all down." They get distracted by Rodney, who's messing with some firewood and an axe. And then out of nowhere, the crazy guy who tried to steal the boombox just pops up.
Yeah, he's there.
And we learn that his name is Wayne Durst, and he's Evelyn's father. And I'm like, how the hell did this old guy get here so quickly? Like, they drove in a car away from the contest, and the guy's like...
He just pops up.
Pops up on foot, like, "Hey, guys, I'm here." It's like, what?
Shortcut through the lake?
I guess. Like, who knows? But yeah, he's there. So we also learned that seems like Wayne... Okay, the old man, we learned his name is Wayne. I think I just said that. He's supposed to be like the caretaker or something, and technically works for Peter now that Peter's inherited, or he takes over the cabin.
Let's talk about that for a second, because I didn't quite understand what was going on.
Okay.
So Peter's grandpa, we saw him die in the very beginning.
Yes.
Peter now, is he inheriting this house? What, like, from his dad? I mean, because
they never really explain why. They don't. I just assumed it was inheritance or something.
Right.
Because they like he hasn't been here since he was a kid, since his grandfather died, and now he's just here.
Yeah. And
so I don't know if he inherited, or maybe he's like, "Hey, you know what? I'm gonna go up to the old family cabin."
Right. They never really clearly explain it, and apparently they're like, there's caretakers taking care of the property, and it doesn't make any sense.
No, it really doesn't.
I shouldn't say it doesn't make sense. It's just confusing.
Not clear. Yeah,
it's very confusing.
They never explain why he's there.
Convoluted. Yeah, it's a mess.
Anyway, Wayne loves to rant about how the whole world's gone crazy and always seems to be angry.
Amen, Wayne.
And then Wayne just out of the blue is like, "Fuck it, I quit." Throws the keys down and storms off.
Yeah, so apparently he was a caretaker of the property.
It's like Pete shows up. He's like, "Fuck you, I quit."
It's like, "You work for me, not anymore." Shit.
Like, what?
He just shows up for 5 minutes and he makes this guy quit.
Yeah.
Holy shit. That's pretty impressive. You're a shit boss.
Our group heads inside the cabin to check it out, and inside one of the girls plays a record, which just happens to be the "Fishing for Your Love" song by Vicky Lee again. This seems to kind of like upset Peter a bit, because he kind of goes into like a trance,
flashback,
and you think you're going to get like the doodaloo flashback thing, but it never happens. And then also for some reason, Evelyn, it just follows him in and is just chilling on their couch.
Yeah,
it's like, what? Why are you just walking into their house? He wasn't invited. He's like, "I'm just gonna go in and sit on your couch."
The guy who was sitting on their property on the lawn, saying he's gonna torch the place down, acting like a fucking lunatic.
Yes,
going off about like military conspiracy theories and just ranting like a nutcase.
Yes.
Now he's part of the group.
Yeah, he's just chilling on the couch in there.
Chilling, and no one seems to be like, "What the fuck is that guy doing here?"
Exactly. Like, nobody's like this.
Everyone's like, it's cool.
It's good old Evelyn. It's good old Eve.
Yeah. Who we just met.
And you threatened to kill us and burn down our property.
He's cool.
He's cool. Pete, he heads outside, hops in the minecart gondola thing. The cicadas get loud again. He has a flashback of being a kid with his grandpa fishing on the dock. We cut to the RV family now having dinner at a local eatery. The mom won't stop talking about loons, the bird, and several times in the middle of the restaurant just starts making loon calls, like in the middle of the diner. Yeah.
Woo-hoo. Yeah.
She's fucking insane. She has to be. She's crazy.
And dude, the food they're eating, it's all fried.
It's fried fish.
I'm looking at their food. I'm just like, oh, I feel like I gotta get the shits right now.
Yeah, they're all eating fried fish.
Yeah, fried fish, French fries, fried hush puppies, and just all that shit. I'm like, oh, like I already feel my stomach lubing up for a shit that.
It also turns out our main group is also eating at the table next to them, next over, and we finally start learning some characters' names there. Like I said, we have Rodney and Finner and Pete. But the girls, we learned the snobby city girl, her name is Kirsten, and the other girl is Anne. Now, Anne seems to be Pete's girlfriend, but that gets a little weird later.
Yeah, and Kristen
is just there.
Pete kind of looks like she's Rodney's girlfriend. I mean,
you think, but there's never... Like,
there's times when it's like he's like flirting with her, and they're like, "Yeah, what's up?" Yeah, and then there's other times he's like puts his arm around her, and she's like, "Get off me."
Yeah, like it's really weird. The relationships are really odd in this group, the dynamic. Yeah. Anyway, Finner gives the group an educational talk about owls, and then he just leaves. Like, it's really fucking weird. Like, they're talking. He's like, "Do you know owls are nocturnal, blah, 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 and owls this. And he just gets up and leaves. It has like no bearing on the conversation, what they're talking about.
I think it just points out that Finner's kind of the odd man out of the group. He's kind of the weirdo.
But the thing is, he's not. Rodney's the weird one, really. He's the oddball.
He's an 80s guy, man. He's got
one earring, yeah.
He's got the boom box.
The ripped shirt.
He's like, hey, what's up? He talks in crazy slang like chowder, being full of chowder.
Yeah. The slang in this movie is so weird. It's like they really did try to create their own slang that I hope they catch on. Like the writers I've never heard any 80s teenager talk before this. So it's like, let's make up our own slang.
Yeah, how about full of chowder?
Because even like Anne and some other people would say some really weird things in this movie.
They do.
Anyway, so yeah, Finner leaves. We go back to the RV family. The mom, who is now also obsessed with loons, is also obsessed with like old-timey movie stars. And she's getting pissed off because her husband doesn't treat her like Audrey Hepburn. So she tells the doctor... I don't even know the guy's a doctor, dude. The RV doctor tells that he came here to catch fish, and if she doesn't like it, then she can just leave and go stay at her sister's house. So that's what the mom does. In the middle of dinner, she's like, fine, I'm leaving.
Fuck it.
I'm leaving my kids. I'm leaving my family. I'm going to go stay at my sister's house, God knows where. I will call a cab all the way from Green Bay to come pick me up and take me to wherever. And that's what she does. She gets up and leaves.
Didn't divorce rates start going through the roof in the 80s?
Yeah, probably. So we go outside where the mom is walking on the docks because the diner's on the lake. Everything's on the lake. It's like every building is on the lake in this town.
Pretty sweet.
So she's walking down the docks at night and she just starts doing more loon calls. Just more woo, woo, like more calls. And again, this seems to anger the cicadas, which get really loud again. The mom walks to the end of the dock and starts blowing a whistle, trying to get birds to call back. The cicadas get even louder at this point. And then from out of fucking nowhere, a giant, like, foot-long fishing lure on a fishing line flies at her, wraps around her neck. And we see a fishing pole, like, pulling back, trying to reel it in.
Fishing pole in the night strikes fear in the hearts of everyone.
It does. Nothing scarier than a fishing pole.
Nothing scarier than a fishing pole pulling back and forth.
And then he gets back to the mom, who's just spinning in circles like a goddamn cartoon.
With her hands out on their sides.
Yeah, going,
just like spinning around in circles.
It's like a fucking Looney Tunes cartoon now.
And I'm watching this, I'm like, okay, here comes the camp. Here comes the camp.
And then she just gets pulled into the lake, never to be seen again.
She basically jumps into the water. And I'm like, all right, we're warming up for some camp. Nope, I was wrong. That's about as campy as it got.
We cut back to Double D in his fishing hut, boathouse, having a heart-to-heart talk with a muskie he has in a large metal trough-like bin or something. He puts a chip clip on the fish's tail so he can tell it apart from the others because it weighs 3 pounds more. So basically, he's planning on cheating in the fishing contest.
He's been growing this fish for
a long time,
for months, to get it nice and fat. When the fishing contest starts, he's going to release it and be right on top of it to catch it, so he can be like, "Yeah, look what I caught." Yeah. And ergo winning the contest.
He continues to monologue and reveal his. His cheating plan.
He's like a James Bond villain.
He's just monologuing his evil plan to cheat in the fishing contest.
And to beat Muskie Madness. Just to win that sweet $5,000.
And then we see Wayne pop his head up behind the window, behind him, just like spying on Double D. Like a creepster. And then Double D just walks away. Wayne enters the fishing hut / boathouse, looks at the fish, calls Double D a goddamn cheating bastard.
He is.
And then he just tips the trough over into the water, releasing the fish. Then he laughs like a madman.
He laughs again like a Bond villain almost. Like, ha 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 ha. I ruined his plan. He's not going to get a big fish. And it's very dramatic.
It is. It's so weird.
Huh?
And then it just cuts back to Peter and Ann lying in bed while Peter plays on a small electric keyboard. The two of them.
It's like one of those keyboards you got when you were a kid.
It's like a Casio.
Yeah, it's like one of those. It's like, I want to play the keyboard. Okay, here's the cheapest one we can find. Here you go, kid. Knock yourself out. You'd go, brr, brr, brr. Be like, this sucks. This is hard. I'm gonna learn this. It's like your mom's like, good thing I only spent $20 on that.
The two of them are talking about Peter's past and his feelings and emotions. And it's this scene, particularly, that it clicked in my head that Pete reminds me or comes across to me as a very young Nicolas Cage. Like, I don't know if Aaron, if you got that, but he's like the way he talks and the way he looks, like it's just young Nick Cage.
Yeah, but not nearly as cool.
No,
like
not as cool.
Like when Nick Cage was young and did all kinds of crazy things.
Yeah, he's not crazy cool. He's just like a poor man's young Nick Cage.
I can see that.
Pete ends up getting upset and takes his keyboard and leaves.
That's it. I'm storming off. I'm taking my keyboard and leaving.
We cut to Finner and Rodney out fishing on a boat. Turns out they ended up catching Double D's cheating fish with a clip on it.
So Finner's like, look, this fucking fish I found. Why does it have a clip on it? And Rodney's like, come on, man. Everyone in the 80s went all into fashion. Everyone's wearing crazy things. This fish is wearing hair clips. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's an 80s fish.
It's an 80s fish.
It's got chowder, man.
Speaking of Rodney, he's wearing a fishing lure as an earring. Which just looks really unsafe and unpractical considering he's got like 9 hooks dangling off the thing.
I kind of like it though. I like Rodney. I like Rodney's style.
They spot Bev out for a jog and then like race the boat over to her. They basically ram the boat into the shore just to go talk to Bev.
I was thinking, oh my god, they're gonna crash.
Yeah,
like,
they almost do.
They floored it, and then I don't know how. Dude, Rodney's a great wheelman.
I get because they time it like he's like, and then just like right as they're about to hit land, it's like, ooh, and
it slows down just enough to drift right onto it, so it's like perfect.
It's perfect.
Like Jesus Christ.
And these guys are all except for maybe Finner and Pete.
They're
all city slickers who have like never been in the lake area before.
They're from Chicago.
Yes, Chicago. Thank you. So
as they talk, it's like, you Southerners. It's a very Game of Thronesy. It's like anyone who's north of Chicago, that's the true north.
Yeah.
Like we live in St. Louis, we're like, oh yeah, that's way up north in Chicago. Those northerners in Chicago, or the Wisconsin folk would be like, nah, they're Southerners. They're not the true northerners. We're the true northerners.
So Bev compliments them on their big catch. Because Ronnie or Flora was like holding this giant fish. The guy's like his hand like shoved up to the thing's gill and like holding it like like showing it off.
It's gotta be 4 feet
4 or
long.
5 feet. Like, it's giant
Huge.
fish. Anyway, she's like, oh, that might win you the contest. And it's like, hey, do you guys want to come over for breakfast? She's like super friendly. Like, I just met you guys for like 5 minutes. You want to come have breakfast at my house?
Like, she's got a feeling for the Finner.
You think like, it's weird because you always talk about it's like Southern hospitality, only it's in the north.
Well, they're incredibly friendly too, but she's going to be a sinner for the Finner.
Yeah. So we.
Thank you. That was a delayed reaction, but I liked it.
So we cut to the house where we see that she's left her infant son alone in a play cage.
He's a toddler.
Outside the house. He's still an infant toddler.
Kid's fine.
He's maybe 2 years old.
Kid's fine.
She grabs her son. They all go inside.
And I did like how Finn brought the fish with him.
He brought the fish in with him, but I like the fact that while they're eating, Finner says to her, when you leave him alone out there, aren't you afraid he might get eaten by a bear? To which Bev actually says, well, he might, but I don't give him any sweets beforehand so bears can't pick up on the scent. Like, are you fucking kidding me? You actually seem okay with the possibility of your son getting eaten by a bear. And she acts like, well, if it happens, it happens. It's survival of the fittest. That would be his fate. Can't beat fate. He's like, it's just like, what the fuck, lady?
It was the 80s? In Wisconsin?
That's the craziest response. Like, well, it might happen. You never know.
Who knows?
Nothing I can do about it.
It's the law of nature.
If it's going to happen, it's going to happen.
We're all going to die someday, am I right?
Jesus Christ. And then she goes on to say that Mama has to be happy too. So she's like, yeah, I got a kid, but fuck the kid. I got to take care of Mama first.
I gotta jog.
I have to jog.
I gotta be happy and go jog. She's a fitness nut.
She's
a
fitness
nut.
nut.
Fitness fanatics. She's like a fitness freak.
Yeah, she's like the type of girl who is addicted to like the endorphins you get in exercise.
She would have loved CrossFit.
Oh, she would have loved.
She would have loved CrossFit.
She's like the pre-CrossFit girl. She's definitely.
You ever watch those CrossFit girls?
No.
Some are pretty hot. and some of them are pretty terrifying.
Yeah.
You know? It's like they walk that fine line between really hot and really terrifying.
So Finn flirts with her some more, and she reciprocates the flirting. And then she invites him to come on a 6-mile run with her, which he agrees to out of the blue.
Sure.
And also, she doesn't say, hey, you want to go on a 6-mile run with me? She's like, you want to go on a half-dozen-mile run? It's like the weirdest, most awkward way to say 6
Such
miles.
a Wisconsin kind of
It
thing.
is. Like, it's like, why not just say 6 miles?
say 6
like, why are you complicating it more?
Leaves her son out in the woods.
Let's go to a
measures
6-mile
distance in halves.
In half dozens? Like, it's weird. So we cut back
How
to...
many miles are you away from Chicago? Oh, dozens and dozens and dozens of miles. I must say, I don't know, 20 dozen miles. It's like, God damn it, lady.
We cut back to their boat where we see Double D finds his chip clip in their boat, and he's like pissed off. Like,
So
kids.
he knows that his prize fish is gone.
Yeah. We go back to Bev's house where Finner and Ronnie are now dancing like idiots to some record they're playing.
Yeah,
Bev-
it was. They were very specific on the title, and I'm kind of kicking myself. I should have looked it up.
Yeah,
I don't. If it was actually a real
I don't think they
thing.
were, but they made it like because Ronnie was saying it's like this weird like underground music
It's an
guy,
obscure band,
really
and,
obscure.
and it's a
punk
It's a
rock.
live recording at the.
I think he did just making shit up. I really do.
Yeah, but the place they recorded was a real place, and you know they were like, "Wow, this is such an underground record," and this crazy fitness bitch in Wisconsin has it, who leaves her son out to bears. let's play air guitar.
Yeah, and dance around like idiots. But Bev comes over, kind of like a little angry or something.
Upset,
turns it off and saying that's her husband's record, and then takes her son out for a swim, leaving them in the house.
So now I'm like, scratch that record.
Yeah.
You got a husband?
Exactly. She's got
Where's
a
your
husband.
husband?
Who knows?
Yeah, what's going on? Because you got your, sin for Finn going on here, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, my husband.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk about a fucking those goddamn too nice.
Too nice.
Something was wrong.
We cut back to Leroy Lutke in his bait shop. He grabs his fishing pole, leaves to go fish. We get a quick shot of Evelyn drinking beer in his fishing boat. Then we go back to Bev lying on the ground working out while her 2 or 3-year-old son plays unsupervised and unwatched in the lake.
Hey, if he dies, he dies.
I know, and I'm just like, Bev is a fucking horrible mother.
She's got the Ivan Drago method of raising a child. If he dies, he dies.
Didn't some other boxer just say that and get in trouble for that? I saw I was watching
I think it's Deontay Wilder.
Yeah, I was watching I think it was like the Blues playoff game, and then the crawling of bombs. Like some boxer says, if he dies, he dies. I don't care.
It's Deontay Wilder. He's a champ. There's so many different divisions.
He's boxing retarded.
He's one of the only He's like an American heavyweight who's got fucking Thor's hammer in his hand. The guy's a knockout artist. We haven't seen an American heavyweight boxer be a knockout artist since Mike Tyson, really. So he's great to watch, but he just quoted fucking Ivan Drago. Yeah. Why would you give him shit? That's exactly what he said.
Well, when you said that, was he's quoting the Rocky movie. Because when I saw, I was like, they were making it like, if he dies, he dies. Like the guy really just he's like trying to kill a guy. But then he said but then there was where he said I love boxing. It's like the only sport you get paid if you for killing someone or something like that.
He's just trying to hide the fight.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. But he's getting. It's working, I guess.
He just fought last night. Okay. He won. He knocked the guy out in devastating fashion.
So anyway, Bev's a fucking horrible mom, and
Ivan Drago style, baby.
The cicadas start getting loud again. Bev continues to work out.
Yeah, she's doing 30 plus reps with these light weights.
Yeah.
With these really light weights. She missed the CrossFit era, baby. She would have loved it. Because, yes, you still can gain muscle if you do a ridiculous amount of reps.
Well, it's also muscular endurance, too. Nothing mass.
Eventually, your muscles will get tired and start to tear and form. But goddamn, she's doing she's 35, 36.
Yeah. So we see the giant fishing lure again fly in and hook the son's floaty donut raft thingy and yank it away.
His inner tube, yeah.
His inner tube. Thank you. I can't believe I couldn't think of that.
I know, you're floating donut thing. I'm inner tube.
Thank you. And anyway, it gets yanked away. Then we see the lure now covered in blood being pulled through the water. We hear the son crying. That gets Bev off her ass. She goes run over to her son, picks him up, and finds that he's bleeding heavily from the leg. So I guess the lure also then came back and like cut him up. Caught him.
And she like freaks out. She like grabs him, puts her hand on his leg, holds her bloody hand up to the sky, and goes, "Ah!"
Yeah, and then just runs away.
It's a weird scene.
We cut back to Wayne chopping firewood. Rodney runs up asking if he can borrow some fishing gear from him. And Wayne wants nothing to do with Rodney. Even, again, goes on another anger rant about how city people like Rodney are causing acid rain, which is killing their legs and will kill us all, too. The rants in this movie are amazing.
Choice.
They're so ludicrous, but so amazing. Yeah. It's like, what?
And he's got a lot of them.
He does. Between him and Evelyn, like, the rants are just, wow.
Choice.
So Rodney leaves, goes to Leroy's bait shop. Leroy tells Ronnie how he and Wayne used to be friends back in the day, but Wayne stopped talking to him after Leroy caught that big fish back in 1955. And then Leroy goes on to tell another story about how Wayne and Peter's grandfather used to have a lucky bullet they would use to shoot giant muskies with, and that Peter's grandfather would dig the bullet out of the muskie's head, put it back into his pistol to use again, and that they caught 30 to 40 trophy fish that way, which is fucking bullshit, because that's not how bullets work.
Well, I mean, they talked about how you dig out the slug.
But you can't reuse a bullet. Once it's used, it's gone.
A copper slug, I don't know much about this, but if it's a copper slug, could you reform it, put a shell back onto it?
You might be able to, if the casing's in good order, you can, I think, reuse a casing. Possibly.
Not the casing. I'm talking about the actual
But I'm saying
slug.
you still need the casing to attach it to the bullet, because that's where the gunpowder is.
Don't you make people make bullets? People make bullets all the time.
I'm saying,
so
but once a bullet is fired, it's gone. You can't reuse a bullet because they get destroyed in the process. Once they hit something, they get bent, they get flattened, you call it, so the bullet's gone.
I get it. But and again, I'm just playing devil's advocate. Can you take the bullet out, reshape it, reform it, and then put it back together? And they said it's copper. Copper's a softer metal. It's very malleable.
I would think you'd have to melt it down, remold it, and then. Come on, these people weren't fucking doing that. They were basically saying he dug it because they said they dig it out of his head, pull it back into the gun, shoot it again. That's not. You can't do that.
I agree.
It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. But
at least not today. Not today.
I will say that during this scene, Leroy though does come across as a pretty good guy.
Yeah,
he's really charming in this scene.
He's putting up with the punk rock guy Rodney, who's again saying like crazy weird 80s slang. I didn't write any of it down, but he was just like, "Hey, don't worry, Grandpa, we're a razzmatazz. Yeah,
don't worry." Being as weird, like it's almost a foreign language.
Don't worry, man. It's us trapper keeper types. We like to keep it tight. Yeah.
You don't be so full of chowder, old man. Yeah. It's all right.
Come on, man. Quit farting chowder over
there. So Leroy continues telling the story about the lucky bullet and how one day Wayne accidentally shot Peter's grandfather in the back with the lucky bullet. The bullet went right into Van Cleese's spine. But Van Cleese refused to let anyone operate on him to remove the bullet.
He was such a tough old man.
And again, I'm gotta ask you, but this has gotta be fucking bullshit, because I'm thinking getting shot in the spine would probably fucking paralyze you. Yet we see the old man walking around, standing and fishing in the opening of the movie. How do you get shot in the spine? That's pretty much it.
There's always flukes. There's always medical flukes. And again, it would be another medical fluke. That shit happens. You hear about people who've gotten, trees crushing their bodies.
I know people get shot in the brain.
Yeah.
I get it, but it's like...
It's that same kind of thing. It's just didn't nick the right nerves or the right order or whatever. Shit like that happens all the time.
Or maybe he's like Iron Man. The spine is keeping him... The spine's what's keeping him alive, or the bullet.
Because he's like, don't... And you know what? That was probably the best choice he made. He's like, I can walk. I can move. I was shot in the spine. Don't you fucking touch it. Don't you go digging around in there, motherfucker. No. Yeah, I would be the same way. I'm like, it stays.
We cut back to the cabin where Peter is fishing on the dock while Kirsten and Anne sunbathe nearby while being watched by Evelyn.
Yeah, Evelyn is just, again, part of the crew, hanging out.
Just hanging out up there.
Just watching these girls bathe. You know, like the one girl's got her top off, but it's just her back.
Yeah, it's just
exposed.
her back. I gotta say, I really love Kirsten in this scene and her response to Anne's crazy take on casting, which I have the audio clip of this scene, which I'm gonna play, but Anne says some weird ass shit. And I don't know, I love Kirsten. This is what I was saying at the beginning when we were talking about the kids. Like, I was really surprised the girl who played Kirsten never wanted to do anything else, because she's pretty solid.
Not bad.
She's pretty solid in this movie as this type of character. Anyway, here's the audio from the scene. Check it out.
So, what do you think about when you meditate?
Nothing. Everything.
I'm sure I can never think about just nothing. I mean, how boring. Oh, sick. That weird guy Evelyn, he thinks I don't know he's watching me. Open your eyes, Anne, so you can see him. God, what a way to get your rocks off. Kills me. There is like nothing happening on this lake. So what are you meditating about? Why Peter's being so antisocial? I mean, I thought he hated fishing. Fishing is rude. I mean, you have to get your hands in all that snotty crap in scales.
Number one, Kirsten, Peter is troubled by something very, very private and very, very traumatic. Number two, he is reacting in a perfectly normal way by refusing to be normal and socialize. Number three, casting is a symbol of Peter's trying to fathom the very deep waters of his trauma.
I thought I was trying to catch a fish.
All right, so there's that little scene between Christian and Anne. And again, like, and it doesn't sound like much, but I love Christian in that scene. And Anne actually like this explain how casting is somehow exploring the deep fathoms of Peter's psyche.
His
is like
trauma.
Is like what? And I was like, I thought he was trying to catch a fish.
That was probably one of
it's the best line in the movie.
It probably is.
Anyway, so next we get a short scene of Rodney driving a boat on the lake and doing water donuts.
Water
So
donuts!
he's doing water donuts around Double D on his fishing boat
Fuck
while
you, Double
giving
D!
him the finger.
Yeah, he's like punk, and he's like, double water donuts,
And then we cut back to Bev and Finn are out for their run, their half-dozen-mile run through the woods.
Mile run. Can't say 6 miles.
No, half-dozen. And they go right back to Rodney, who is getting back into his boat after taking a dip in the lake. He turns on his boombox, cranks up the volume, and lays down to relax and take in the sun. Of course, at this point, we hear the cicadas getting loud again. Ronnie stands up to check on something, and that's when the giant fishing lure with like 9 hooks flies in from fucking nowhere, plops down right on the seat Rodney was lying on. So without looking, Rodney
not paying attention.
yeah, he lies back down on it, this time face down. And as soon as he lays in the lure, we see the fishing pole it's attached to be like yanked back to set the hook. Ronnie screams in pain as he starts getting yanked around by the lure that's embedded into his fucking crotch. And he's also, as he's getting reeled in and yanked, Ronnie's like, his head gets slammed into the outboard motor, which is fucking hilarious too.
He's
just
holding his crotch going, he's yanked into the outboard motor. Wham!
And and then a few more good yanks of the fishing pole, and Roddy then is just pulled completely off the boat into the
water,
lake, never to be seen again. We jump to Pete, Ann, and Kirsten sitting at the diner talking and drinking. Peter starts talking about the sounds of a police siren and how it makes a perfect fourth, which is what they call the distance between 2 notes. Just like the notes in Here Comes the Bride, which he then sings for Kirsten. And then he says, if you go a half a step higher, you've got something that used to be called the Devil's Tritone, that in box time, it was thought to drive people crazy. Now, I did some research on this, and this is actually a real thing. And it's kind of fascinating and cool, too, to learn about.
Lay it on me, brother.
The problem is that it's not really all that relevant in today's world where it's actually used pretty often in music nowadays. And actually some of the biggest and most most well-known pieces of music that use the devil's tritone are also called the devil's interval. Are the South Park theme song, the Simpsons opening theme song,
Nice.
the Munsters theme song, Twilight Zone theme song, Pink Panther theme song, Marilyn Manson's Beautiful People, Black Sabbath by Black Sabbath, Metallica's Enter Sandman, and the Call of Cthulhu, which is weird because it's not spelled like Cthulhu, but Cthulhu. YYZ's Rush, Painkiller by Judas Priest, Jimi Hendrix's Purple Haze, My God by Jethro Tull, and then classical pieces such as The Dance Macabre and Beethoven's Fidelio. And it's also in Maria from West Side Story and The Girl from Ipanema. And it's even in Busta Rhymes' Woo-Ha Got You All in Check song. So all that's used, and basically what it boils down to is like the tone or the sound it makes is what they keep saying is dissonant. And it's like it's almost unnatural to the human ears or something like that.
Okay.
And in the old days, when most music was written and performed strictly for the church, everything had to be like consonant and harmonious and beautiful and full of joy. And the devil's tritone was the exact opposite of all that in sounding. So they call it the Devika in Musica, which is like the devil in the music. And because of that, some will say it was banned, but others because it wasn't really banned. It was just because it was kind of like it wasn't used because it was
frowned upon.
It was frowned upon because it was unpleasant to the ears. Not that.
Come on, man. Everyone loves the Simpsons theme song.
But I'm saying, but that's what it was unpleasant to the ears. So the people who wrote to me just didn't use it, and then people started, it's because now it's been banned.
Woo-ha! Got you all in check.
But that's what it is.
Cool.
It's a music theory, but it's actually very common in today's music now.
Thanks for breaking it down.
It's pretty interesting. Read a lot about it. Anyway, back to the movie. We cut to the local sheriff on his radio calling in a report about how he found a boat that's drifted ashore with no body in it. Peter and the gang enter the scene and they see the boat is Peter's boat that we saw Rodney using. Peter finds blood and bullets in the boat and starts freaking out and yelling at the sheriff for not doing more. He asks what kind of bullets they are, and the sheriff says 223 M16 bullets, which again is bullshit because I've never heard of a 223 bullet.
I knew it.
On top of that, the M16 uses a 5.56 round.
I knew it. I knew it. I knew this was gonna happen because the character Evelyn is a military type guy. I was just waiting for him to slip up and fuck something up where you jump on it for being slightly inaccurate, and you're just be like, boom, gotcha, nailed you. I knew it happened. I'm sitting there listening to this. I'm like, Marshall's gonna catch something. He's gonna catch some shit and call it out. The fact that we made it through like most of the rants that he has, I'm like, okay, we made it. Damn it, got caught. You know what's gonna happen.
Hearing this, Peter said,
You can't even respond.
I can't.
Because you're so guilty.
I am. I can't defend. I was like, yeah, that's bullshit. I'm thinking he's 5.56. What am I gonna say? Can't say he's right. He's not. He's wrong.
Okay.
So hearing this, Peter says he knows who killed Ronnie and forces the sheriff to come with him to arrest Evelyn. So we jump to them arriving at Evelyn and Wayne's cabin, which is like right next door to Peter's cabin. Evelyn hands over the M16, which we find out is just a wooden carving. It's not even real.
I did like when the sheriff was walking up. And
oh, yeah, go ahead.
Peter jumps up. He's just like, you stay here, stay quiet.
Yeah.
Let me be because he's kind of pushing the sheriff around.
Yeah.
He's like, you got to do something. Quit filling out your forms. Let's do something. The sheriff's like, fine, fuck it. Okay, fine, I'll go. The sheriff's son is walking to it, and Peter reaches in and goes, "You're gonna arrest Evelyn!
Yeah,
you're gonna
come on out! Like the
bull,
like,
bullhorn.
Throw the M16 out! You're under arrest, Evelyn!" And the sheriff turns around, like, "What the fuck, dude?" He's like,
"She told you to be cool."
Yeah, I did find that part pretty good too.
Yeah, but yeah. It turns out the M16 is a fake.
Yeah,
it's a wooden carving.
We cut to the RV family trying to launch their boat and nearly running over Wayne, who's in his boat on the dock. And I don't think I found funny about this is that Wayne, who's always angry, he calls the father Mr. Green Jeans, which I was like, that's a weird thing to call somebody.
Again,
I love it. Like, all right.
Probably some obscure Wisconsin insult.
Mr. Green Jeans.
Ooh, we called him Mr. Green Jeans.
Because he's got so much money in them jeans. He's a rich doctor, so he's got them green jeans.
Or he's so inexperienced, he's green, and he's just wearing it.
That could be too.
Who knows?
It could be both.
Maybe both.
Yeah.
If anybody's from Wisconsin and they know if green jeans is an insult.
Or maybe the guy was just wearing green jeans. I don't know how you would see it because he was in his RV.
Or again, this movie's just trying to make up slang.
Yeah.
Like being full of chowder.
So we go right back to the sheriff back at the fishing festival area. Peter and the gang show up. After a heated conversation with the sheriff just leaves and Kirsten runs off alone crying for some reason. We cut to Kirsten, who has now changed into her bikini, now riding the gondola thing down to the lake while still kind of sobbing and whining about something. Which
dude, I love that scene when they're saying Rodney's been murdered.
Yes.
Rodney's been murdered. Okay, yes, there's blood. Yes, there's a casing. We can't see him. But when they're trying to calm her down, Kirsten.
Yes, Kirsten.
When they're trying to calm Kirsten down, she like tears away and she goes, you can't understand a fucking thing she's saying. She tries to say something, but it just comes out. And I'm watching this. I'm like, holy shit! I should have put my fucking subtitles on because I don't know if she was trying to say words. Because it all just came out. It's like she turned into mush mouth. And then stormed off.
So she's riding down to the lake. She's sobbing a bit. And we see Wayne out on his fishing boat with a very large lure, which he actually then takes out a grindstone and starts sharpening each individual hook of this lure.
This is a whetstone. He's sharp. It's like, this is a evil. So these lures that you see, we never see the fisherman killer.
No.
But we see the giant, like
it's like a foot long, at least, maybe even more than a foot long.
With multiple hooks on it.
Like 9 hooks.
And you see him being tossed. We've seen them tossed here and tossed there to our victims.
Mm-hmm.
And so we see...
This is the first time we see an actual person with one in their hand.
Correct.
And he's sharpening it.
But we did see them also in Lukey's shop too. So
were they in Lukey's shop?
Yeah,
okay,
he had a handful of it, like a bunch, again. But he's a fucking bait shop.
Yeah.
He's got a bunch of these things.
Yeah. So the scene between Kirsten on the gondola thing and Wayne in his boat goes on for way too long, in my opinion, because it just goes back and forth between the two, back and forth. It just keeps going and going and,
again,
going.
You can't really understand what she's saying. She's like, I really liked him, man.
Yeah,
and she's like just pouting.
But then the music that they're using in between, every time they cut back and forth, the music is the Devil's Tritone again.
Oh.
So they keep that theme going. Eventually, Wayne casts his line, and we see Kirsten floating on a raft in the lake while her boombox plays music on the end of the docks. Again, the cicadas go crazy as Kirsten floats further out into the lake. We see the giant lure cast and land right next to her. It gets reeled in, then cast at her again, plopping down right next to her.
This guy's not a good shot.
Both times she ignores it, which I'm calling bullshit on that too.
Yeah.
Because there's no way she wouldn't hear or feel this giant lure plopping down right next to her.
Again,
not once, but twice.
It's huge.
It's huge. And the fact that it would splash and she'd be getting wet, and it's like, you would know this. And you'd be like, what the fuck is that? And holy shit, what is that thing doing by me? But she just ignores it. And then, which is even weird because she completely ignores the lure almost hitting her. But then she just seems like just for no reason whatsoever just falls off her raft. Just like, bloop, just for no reason whatsoever. All right, so she looks around. She's screaming in the lake. And she looks in front of her and she sees a boat slowly drifting towards her.
Very slowly.
And instead of swimming out of the way, she just floats there, treads water while screaming as the boat seems to like run right into her.
But does it? It doesn't. There's no.
But it cuts away.
Yeah. There's no definitive like thump.
Yeah, it's like it just it's
not like
it's a POV shot, and the boat just basically runs into the camera and then cuts away.
It wasn't well done.
No, it wasn't. We cut to Wayne getting out of his boat and dumping a very large garbage bag stuffed with something into a large wooden chest on the side of the lake and covering whatever it is with ice. And then he says, finally got that bitch.
I'm assuming it's a fish.
Yeah.
Well, it's obviously a fish because it's
It's like 3 feet long.
Yeah.
But
it's either a fish
or a midget.
Or Bev's kid.
Yeah.
Finally got that bitch.
We jump back to the fishing festival where it's announced that Wayne is the new fishing contest winner or leader with a fish weighing in at 46.5 pounds. Peter and Finner are there in awe. They're in awe of his catch and congratulate Wayne. Wayne says he's been after that fish for years. And I'm like, so much for building the mystery and tension about who or what Wayne just dumped in that box and covered with ice.
Yeah,
like if they're trying to kind of give us like that misdirection or kind of build up Wayne as like the red hair.
It was, but
just like then let it sizzle for a bit. Let it cook a bit, and not the very next scene like, oh, it's just a fish.
It was very obvious a fucking fish.
Yeah, it pretty was, but you could have maybe.
It wasn't like he was dragging a giant bag.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, you could argue maybe cut the body up, but even then, that's a stretch, a very big stretch to take. It's just poorly done. We cut back to Bev and Finner returning from another run back at Bev's house, which is weird because I'm pretty sure we just saw Finner and Peter at the fishing festival, and now Finner is running through the woods with Bev. So
he's like, hey, congratulations. That's a big catch. I gotta go run.
I gotta
run half a dozen miles.
Yeah. They go inside, share some sexual tension over sit-ups, and then they end up making out on the floor. And then it cuts to either later that night, that night's sunset, or the next morning sunrise.
I can't really tell either. Yeah,
I don't really know.
I thought it was the sunrise.
It could be, but you just don't know. You just don't know.
I think it was a sunset because what happens? The conversation turns to what are you doing later?
Well, if it's the sunset, then
I think the sun was setting.
I think it was the sunrise.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's explain this. Bev and Finn, we see him next in the kitchen. They're talking. Bev's wearing a robe now, so we're assuming that she pounded his pike pretty good.
Ooh, nice.
You like that one?
I do like that one. Very fish. Hey, cheers. Cheers to pounding the pike.
Pounding the pike. All right, so, and she says to him something. She's in the middle of the conversation. She's like, "I hope you understand, but there's just some stuff I have to do." Finner wants to know, like, "Hey, all right, well, are you gonna be around Larry? Because I'd like to come back. I'd like to see you." But I gotta go out fishing for a bit, but I'll see you.
Finner is smitten.
Yeah, but he wants to beat Wayne in the contest, so he has to go fishing first. And she says, well, okay, come back around midnight. So I'm like, maybe it's the sunset, but that's awfully close. So if it's the next day,
regardless,
it doesn't. We don't know. Back to Ann and Peter at Peter's cabin. They're talking about Kirsten being gone. Ann also mentioned that the cicadas are giving her a headache. Peter wants to call the sheriff again, but now for some reason the phones are just out. And on that cue, up pops Evelyn again, who's just still in their house lingering around.
This guy just hangs out with them, and everyone's just like, oh, there he goes again, he's spouting off. If he's not spouting off, he's docile. Yeah, as like a well-behaved cat.
He's like a house cat, just lounging around, just taking up the sun, taking up space. But then as soon as he triggers something, he is fucking crazy. And he's ranting about some military conspiracy and vibrations, that the whole woods are set up like a D battery, causing weird vibrations that are messing with the phones and people's brains. Then Wayne enters from who knows where, adds to the craziness of all this. And this is another audio clip I got.
People just pop in and pop out all the time.
Yeah, there's nobody believes in knocking on doors or ringing doorbells or
I'm just here, and I'm going to rant about this
in your house.
Goodbye.
So it's a crazy rant. I got this audio clip. So just enjoy this. It's insanity.
God, what happened to Kirsten?
You miss her? The cicada whatevers are giving me a headache. I mean, what's weird is how they stop, and then they start. And then they just shut up, and you never know if they're going to start up again.
Drives you crazy. Maybe I'd better call the sheriff. Shit, it's not hooked up.
Fucking A, the phone's out. Vibrations, man. Goddamn military's got the whole North Woods strung up like a D battery, man. Sending out weird vibrations, messing with phones and people's brains, man. You ever put a pitchfork in the ground and wiggle it? Worms come up. Vibrations, right? Look at this gut on me. We're talking extremely low frequency radiation sucking the Agent Orange out of the cells. I'm not square dancing with you people. Look at me. We're talking.
Here on! Shut up! None of that's got a thing to do with why you're a bum. More than one guy around here has fought in a war. He's got something wrong with him that you didn't even know about. They just don't complain about it.
Why didn't you tell me about old man Van Cleese now? Go ahead. Tell me your tough guy story again. You pissed me off. You know that. And don't sneak up on me.
God damn.
So fucking bonkers. This is Looney Tunes, man.
I love it. It's like, he's going on a rant, and then he's like, you call that a rant? I'm going to show you a rant.
And why does being fat have anything to do? Low frequency is gonna suck the Agent Orange right out my cells.
Look at my gut. So, and this movie's full of those.
It's full of them.
Full of these. That was probably the best one.
Yeah.
That was probably the most choice rant. But the movie is full of either Evelyn or Wayne just ranting like madmen, making no sense.
Evelyn storms out after this. Wayne tells the story about how he shot Peter's grandfather in the back again. He retells that, and then he leaves too. We're skipping ahead now a little bit to the RV doctor guy, stranded out on the lake at night on a boat because his boat motors won't start. Then we cut to Finner walking to the lake with his fishing pole.
And he has a giant, one of those giant...
Yeah, I think he does.
Yeah. He also has one of those gigantic fishing lures.
Yeah, well, basically these are the fishing lures that you use to catch like the muskies, that big of fish.
So it's like all of a sudden we're starting to realize a lot of people have these types of lures.
He passes Bev's house on the way.
He's stopping by Bev's.
And he hears laughter and voices that come from inside. He looks through the window and sees Bev on the couch all cuddled up with Evelyn. Evelyn! And I'm like, what?
The guy who's crazy goes on rants talking about his fat gut and just and vibrations, man, vibrations. You ever put a pitchfork in the ground and wiggle it? Worms come out, man. And all of a sudden he's sweet talking Bev. And now he's like normal.
Yeah, he's totally normal.
And then he's a fucking Don Juan.
Finner's
he's
like,
gonna go to Pound Town.
Finner's like, what the fuck? He gets a little pissed. He turns
like,
away.
What the fuck is shit?
Yeah, and he turns and walks away in a little. Okay.
That slut.
So
that Muskegee slut.
back at the cabin, Ann and Pete talk about their relationship and their future and all this shit. It's boring and pretty useless. They do end up making out and having sex on the floor, but it's lame, and you don't even see the boobs. There's no boob scene.
You get some side boob.
You get some side boob, but that's about it.
Little hint of areola.
Very, very small. If you
hint.
squint your eyes, you might be able to make it out.
His eyes squinted. Squinted hard. I found it, baby.
I found it. I was looking.
I found it, baby.
It's like a mongoose digging for nutrients.
I found that areola.
We go back to Finner, who hears RV Doctor blaring an air horn out in the lake. But instead of helping him, he just says, "Shut the fuck up, you old bastard. I'll shut you up myself."
Yeah, he basically says, he's making a threat.
So RV Doc continues to blow the air horn. Then he just tosses it down and gives up.
He runs out of juice.
Yeah, I think that's what happens. As soon as he does, as soon as the air horn hits the boat, he gets hooked in the stomach by the giant lure. And the way this thing is filmed is fucking comical. Not to mention the guy's facial reaction to getting hooked is hysterical as well. Because it's shot like where it looks like they shot it and then like they played it in reverse. It's like they had it in this.
Kinda, yeah.
It's so fast. It's like it looks like once they just put shot in reverse or something like that. You know what I'm talking about. You see that? You know the effect I'm talking about. But his facial expressions are amazing too. Like,
honestly, this doctor is the best actor. He's my favorite character. He's
really
everything he does is so over the top. He's just yelling at his family, yelling at his wife, yelling at fish. You know, this guy is just over the top on everything.
So the line gets reeled in, and it pulls him off the boat into the water, never to be seen again.
Second time I've heard that.
It's like maybe the third. I'm not sure. We cut back to Bev and Evelyn. She orders him to leave. For some reason, like they went from cuddle on the couch to like having an argument in the kitchen.
Yeah.
She's like, leave, I just go or something.
Yeah, she's all distraught now because he's like, you need a man around. You need me to be with you. You need a man around. Well, she's married They never really talked more about that.
Yeah.
And Evelyn's like, you need a man
But
around the house.
she's married to him.
But maybe.
Anyway, she orders him to leave and then she cries. And at this point, you already kind of said, but this is where I said, she's not only a terrible mother, but she's the town whore too, I guess. Because she's just like banging everybody. Then we get a short scene of Pete and Ann decided to go pop in on Finner at Bev's house. So I guess they're just kind of taking over the culture of this town, just popping up in people's homes whenever you feel like it.
Walk right in. All the doors are unlocked.
Yeah. We cut to Bev's house where we see her put on the record that Rodney and Finn were listening to earlier.
Come to the warm side of the door.
Yeah, the one that she turned off earlier. She wipes some tears away and then goes outside, heads down to the lake. The cicadas start up again.
For a night swim. She's obsessed with fitness.
She is, yeah.
She's fucking obsessed. She's already run at least a half marathon since we'd watched it.
So far, at least.
In 2 days, she's run half a marathon, lifted weights,
done sit-ups.
Done a bunch of sit-ups, and now she's going for a swim.
A night swim.
All in a matter of 2 days.
Yeah. She wades into the lake, goes for a night swim.
She's wearing like a 1980s Olympic swimsuit.
It is. It's not like a bikini or just a. It's like a swim team.
Like a swimmer's swimsuit. Yeah, like fucking competition level swimsuit.
Yeah.
And she's going into a dirty lake in the middle of the night.
In the middle of the night. As she's swimming, we see the giant lure making its way through the water towards her, like at a 90-degree angle. They're gonna come together. Yeah, it's basically what it is. It hooks her in the back. She fights and struggles to free herself from the hooks, which she's able to do.
But she doesn't scream.
Not really. She's like, ah, ah. She never like screams out.
She's like, ah, oh, ah, ee, ooh. You know, she never's like,
ah. Yeah, I will. Yeah. But as soon as she frees herself, she gets bashed in the face by an oar.
Yeah, this struggle is like, it struggles for a while, and she finally gets free of it, and she's like, all right, Bev's gonna make it, and she turns around, whoa!
Bashed in the face with an oar.
Fucking mollywobbed with an oar. And I was really bummed about that, because I was like, aw. Bev was like my favorite character. Kind of a weirdo with her kid.
She is a weird kid, but at the same time, like, she's a horrible mom, apparently kind of a slut.
Horrible mom, fitness fanatic.
Fitness addicted, endorphin crackhead, basically. But at the same time, she's so friendly and bubbly, you can't help but like her.
You just overlook all those flaws.
Yeah, you kind of do. He's like, oh, I like that.
Like, your fitness obsession is basically jeopardizing your love life and your child.
Yes, it is.
But gosh darn it, you sure are nice.
Yeah. We're skipping ahead again to Pete and Ann Evelyn searching for Finner and Bev down by the lake. They find the grip of Finner's fishing rod, the one with the tassels on it, and a piece of cloth from Bev's swimsuit. Evelyn has another wonderful outburst of craziness here they just rants on about. But we cut to Finner getting on Pete's boat and heading out onto the lake while bitching and whining, saying like, who the fuck cares? Who the fuck cares what I do? And he's like whining. I guess he's like just all butthurt over Bev and Evelyn, I guess. But he's like whining like a little bitch now for some reason, which just seems kind of odd and out of place for him. Like he hasn't been... I don't know. It's
well, they talk about how Finn needs a girlfriend, you know, because it does seem like they are coupled off at the beginning of this show when they're at the diner, you know, or at the restaurant, and they're saying, you know, we're a couple. He just needs a girlfriend. He needs a girlfriend, and it seems like he found someone who can put up with his quirky ways and his fishing sleighs. I don't know.
It's weird, his quirky ways, because he's not even that quirky. He's pretty normal dude. There's really nothing odd about him.
Yeah, and he can drop 6 miles out of nowhere to go on a date. That guy's fucking choice.
Like just apparently, 6 miles. All right, let's do this.
Yeah,
and
some
he
girls
does it without a problem.
If I was single and some girl was fancying me and was really into me and was like, "Hey, let's go on a date," I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Hey, you want to run half a dozen miles?" I'd be like, "Ooh, I don't know how good this pussy's gonna be, and how embarrassing." It's like.
Does the embarrassment, does the potential of good pussy outweigh the level of embarrassment that you will be going through?
Yes. Yes.
And the answer is probably no.
Exactly. I'm old enough to be like, sorry, Toots. Go find yourself a He-Man. I'm going to stay here and enjoy a beer.
Enjoy my beer.
Yeah.
Anyway, Leroy is in his bait shop. And he starts to hear a drunk Finner singing a terrible, made-up reggae song about muskies.
Yeah, I kind of liked it. I kind of liked it. It was fucking cute.
Cute. Finner stops singing, turns on his boombox. The cicadas go bananas again. And inside the shop, we see Leroy grabbing at his head in pain and screaming. It almost looks like he's Bruce Banner about to turn into the Hulk.
Yes.
Like, it's very like that kind of like in the 70s Hulk.
Yes.
Like that level of
Bill Bixby. Bill Bixby is about to turn into the Hulk.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, he's thrashing around his bait shop, screaming, knocking stuff off the counter.
I thought of also, I kind of hearkened to Frankenstein when he's confronted with fire. You know, like, oh, fire, bad.
Yeah, a little bit. He gets a little bit of that later too. So he grabs his fishing or rod or whatever, fishing rod, and he charges outside. He runs to the end.
Yeah,
of the,
he arms up with a fucking
fishing rod.
Yep.
He charges to the end of the dock, and he casts his line at Finner. The lure hooks into the side of Finner's face.
Hits him in the side of the head.
Right in the face. Finner is able to
rip it off.
Get it, unhook it from his face, and in doing so, I guess it rips his ear off, but really he kind of rips his own ear off.
Yeah, you see him pull it off, and he's like, what the fuck? And he pulls around on his face, and he pulls, I'm guessing it was, he felt something dangling.
Yeah,
and ripped off.
But he pulls his own ear off.
The rest of his ear off.
Finner I love this. He throws a beer can at Leroy and then chooses the most retarded course of action.
Oh my God.
Because instead of getting behind the wheel of the boat, which would allow Finner to either one, ram the dock and knock Leroy off, or just simply speed away into the night, this asshole decides to just bail and jump off the boat into the lake.
He jumps off the boat! He's like, oh no, there's a crazy old man.
Like, okay, he's going to try to swim away.
Slowly casting giant
fishing lures
at me. I better jump. And once he jumps,
you think, okay, he's going to swim away. Nope. He just simply stays there.
And he tries to get back on the boat.
Yes, he gets back on the boat, or tries to.
This is a bad decision. And he's trying to pull himself.
He's just hanging from this rail. He can't even do it. He's just hanging from this rail.
He's trying to do a pull up on the boat. He's so tired from running 12 miles in the last 2 days.
I'm like, why jump off the boat in the first place if you're just going to try to immediately get back on it?
He's been so sex exhausted from Bev, he can't pull himself back on the boat. And he's fucking doomed.
So Leroy tries to reel his lure back in, but it's caught on the rails of the boat.
He just reels the boat in.
Exactly. He pulls the whole boat with fins hanging off the side of it.
His dumbass is hanging on the side.
Which again, let go of the boat.
Swim away, asshole.
Everything that Finner does in the scene just pisses me off more and more.
But he's so tired from pounding that puss and running 12 miles. He can't do it, Marshall. He can't.
Now Finner is getting pulled closer to Leroy, and at this point, like I said, he could easily just clearly let go and swim away, but he doesn't. So Leroy grabs like a large gaffing hook, which he uses to kill Finner with, but we don't see it because the camera cuts away
in
as
the most slow motion kind of way. Finner's holding the boat, looking up at Leroy as he goes.
The most telegraphed slow motion. And again, he could just let go of the boat
just sink down.
and be fine, but nope, he just stays there and takes it.
I remember watching that scene. I'm like, I know we're gonna have a lot of fun with this one.
So it cuts into Leroy pulling Finner's dead body onto the dock. Leroy then runs a large hook attached to a rope up through Finner's chin and jaw, up through the mouth. So he's treating Finner's body like you would a fish, basically, where you string a bunch of fish.
When you weigh a fish,
yeah, when you string it up, yeah.
And this is actually not a horrible effect.
No, it's not for the.
It's clearly a dummy or a molded cast of. It looks pretty good.
It does look like Finner, so they just got that part right. It doesn't start looking too bad until you really start seeing the jaw.
The jaw really starts to kind of break apart.
Yeah.
You know? But overall, I like the effect.
I like it too.
Considering we haven't had hardly any special effects other than like the
blood, some blood here.
Some blood and like holding a lure against your chest going, oh, blood, oh no.
Yeah.
This is the best.
It really, yeah, it is. Leroy drags Finner's body down the dock and into his bait shop where he proceeds to saw off Finner's hands to put them through a meat grinder. Then we...
Yeah, and I was a little confused by this because he chops off his hand, puts it in a meat grinder, spins it halfway, and he's like, coffee break.
Yep, coffee break.
Coffee break. Like, he's like not even halfway done with the job, and he's like, time for coffee. Hey, when coffee calls,
I guess
you answer the call. It's like, he stops everything
yeah, he does.
for that cup of coffee.
We cut back to Ann, Peter, and Evelyn at Peter's cabin. Ann's drunk now, just out of the blue. She's just drunk.
Good for her.
Evelyn's ranting about blowing Finner out of the water because he thinks Finner did something to Bev.
He thinks Finner killed Bev.
Pete just leaves. He's like, I'm out. I'm done with this.
Leaving Evelyn with this...
Leaving drunk Ann with Evelyn, who's ranting mad.
He's this crazy, ranting madman.
Outside, a hysterical Kirsten floats up in a boat. Peter helps her out of the boat onto the dock.
Kirsten's back.
She's back, and she's frantically telling about how she was attacked, but was somehow able to get away, and she just kept swimming and swimming and swimming. And then she came across a boat just floating in the lake, and it had Finner's stuff in it. And she's ranting, and Pete's like, all right, just go inside, call for help, and I'll check you on you in a minute or something like that. And then Pete goes to check the boat, and in the boat he finds Finner's ear on one of the seats.
I do love he picks up the ear and goes, poor Finner. Yeah. Like, he recognizes that this is Finner's ear for sure.
Yeah. It would make more sense if it was Rodney's ear with like the giant fishing lure hanging out of it as the earring.
Yes.
That would have been made sense.
Like if someone cut off your ear,
and
I've known you my whole life, and gave it to you, I'd be like, why the fuck are you giving me someone's ear? I would not be like, Marshall's ear, oh no. I'd be like, gross. Well, some white guy's ear.
Yeah, like, that's a good. Yeah, it's like, how does he know that's his ear? So we jump back to the bait shopper. Leroy Lukey has gone back out onto his dock. He goes to the end of the dock, kneels down, and pulls on a rope that is attached to the dock, and then sinks down into the water. He pulls up like a line of dead, soggy, pruny bodies of all of his victims. All the bodies are hooked to the mouth like fish on a line, like we saw him do with Finner. And for some reason, he's decided to put life jackets on all the corpses, which makes zero sense to me. Because I would think if you're trying to hide bodies...
That's a pretty funny point.
You would want them to sink so nobody would see them and not be floating on the surface of the water. But, yeah, so all the corpses are wearing life jackets. They're basically corpse buoys at this point. He drags the bodies through the water, but then he just cuts back to Pete and Evelyn. But the bodies look so
Can we talk about these bodies?
Fake. Oh, God, yes. We're definitely good. Yes, we're going to talk about these bodies.
Do you remember the compliment I just gave about the special effects? And
I know, because I didn't want to say anything at the time because I knew it was like we went from that to the flip side of that
and
coin
then
to this.
All of a sudden we get like cartoon dead, like cartoon zombies.
They are. They look
cartoon
more like zombies than the dead corpse of the victims we've seen.
Cartoon. Like, they have overly exaggerated, gigantic
eye sockets are all blackened out.
Their eyes are huge.
Yeah. And none of them look like any of the people we've seen killed.
It's supposed to be Rodney.
I guess it's supposed to be Rodney, the mom, and I don't know.
The doctor.
Oh, yeah, the doctor. Thank you.
Yeah.
None of them look alike.
No.
And considering the fact that all these killings have taken place in the course of like 24 hours, maybe 48 at the most over a weekend, they would look so much fresher. And they would look like themselves. These things look like they've been dead in the water for like months.
Or... But there's no cartoony looking.
Yeah, they are. It's so bad.
So bad looking.
Really bad.
And they spend a long time
on these.
Showing
like, you can tell they were so proud of these.
So proud of these.
This is gonna be such a cool shot.
Look at these cool corpses.
Yeah.
Nope. They look like fucking.
I get like the concept. Like I kind of like the concept. Like they're all strung together like fish on a line. He's hiding them underneath his dock, and like, okay, I get it. And that's what they're like. Oh, this is gonna be such an epic reveal, but. Dude, it looked so bad. It does not.
Comical.
The payoff is not there.
Comical.
Yeah, so we go back to Peter and Evelyn. They're hanging out now, just chilling. Peter has his Casio keyboard out, and the cicadas start up again. This gives Pete a revelation that the sound of cicadas mixed with music creates the devil's tritone, which causes people to go crazy.
Woo!
He also pieces it together that the common thread between Rodney, Finner, Kirsten, and Bev was Finner's taste of weird music. Peter continues on with his light bulb moment. Evelyn chimes in saying, "No shit, man, I could have told you that." And then he goes on another Vietnam rant, which now, by the way, there's no way Evelyn would have even been in Vietnam, because the Vietnam War was roughly from 1963 up to 79, maybe early 70s, depending on what date you want to go with the height or peak of it being in 1967/68, during which time was the famous Tet Offensive. And Evelyn is clearly in his fucking 20s, and even so, I'm going to be generous and say maybe 28 at the most, but most likely he's probably like 23, 25, which would mean he would have been 10 years old in 1968. There's no way this fucker was in Vietnam at all. Impossible. But like the entire movie, all he does is rant about his time in Vietnam. So that one bothers me too.
Yeah, they didn't. They try to cover it up with his facial hair, but he's clearly a young man, younger guy. You know.
Just if you want to do that, just get an older actor. Get somebody in their 40s or something, or do it. It wouldn't really make any difference. Evelyn would be the same character regardless of age. Even if he was 40, he'd be exactly the same.
He's just a little too young for the role that he was given.
Yeah, but I'm just but it fucks up this whole premise that he'd be in Vietnam.
Let's just say he's older and he does great like moisturizing. There's something about that lake water keeps his skin so young and healthy. He's just got a baby face. How about that? Can we go that route?
No.
Yeah.
Anyway, the fucking RV. Then, just like everybody else in this fucking movie, the RV kid just walks into Peter's cabin.
Walks in.
The kid. I'm like, which is nonsense, because why the fuck would the kid be walking into Peter's cabin? They don't know each other. They've never met before. But the kid just walks in. Just there he is.
Hey, I hear you having trouble with missing people. So are we.
Hey.
How's it going? We're the RV kids.
Yeah.
We're missing our mom and dad.
Peter continues talking about vibrations and frequencies. Then the RV boy chimes in saying that Leroy was acting weird and he has a metal in his head. And then Peter's like, "How do you know this, boy?" And he's like, "Oh, I used the stud finder on Leroy's head."
So there's a scene where Leroy and the RV kid are talking. It's a very short scene.
Yeah, it's pretty short.
But when Leroy has his back turned, the kid puts the stud finder on the back of his head, and it goes cattywampus. It starts going off. So it looks like there's metal in Leroy's head.
Yeah. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ. Talking like, just the convenience of this. Like, the writing is so like,
I love how they just show up.
Yeah, just
right at the same
like
time.
They couldn't figure out how else to explain this, or how else for them to find out that Lutke has metal. And said, "Oh, what is that? The kids show up with a stud finder."
Right when Peter has a revelation about the Devil's Trilogy or Triangle, whatever it is.
Yeah,
not the Devil's Three-Way.
No,
I've been in a couple of those.
Ugh. gross bastard.
Well, does it count when there's more? There's two guys and two girls. Is that a?
That's a 4-way. That's not a devil's threesome.
We called that the square beyond the compare. Square beyond compare, baby.
Emos might have a problem with that, but yeah.
That was the hilarity of it. The square beyond compare.
Only people in St. Louis will get that one. No people out there like, the fuck's emos?
I don't know. The Blues are doing pretty hot right now. There's emos guys.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go.
But the emo scores are probably only played locally, not like in like.
Well, there was a guy behind the ice, a guy who was like wearing a whole red outfit, like his face
I
was
missed
covered
that
and
guy.
everything,
Okay.
and he had an emo's emblem on his chest.
I missed that guy. Anyway, so now after the boy enters, Wayne enters, wanting to know what all the commotion is about. Peter tells him about Leroy. Wayne doesn't want to believe it. Says to Peter, "Your granddad would slap you in the snap box," talking like that. Again, never heard of a snap box, but I kind of like it. I don't know why, but like, "I'm slap you in your snap box."
Yeah. Come here with that snap box. Slap.
It sounds like slang for a pussy again, though.
Snap box. I like it.
Yeah, it does. Not a mouth, but it sounds like slang for a
It's
pussy.
like, gotcha.
Gotcha.
Gotcha. Snap closed, and now
Snap that box
that
closed.
dick is mine.
Got it. Wayne makes some more fishing metaphors, and then he leaves. Evan rants on about crazy shit. Then Peter decides that the sheriff isn't going to do anything to help them with Leroy. Then they have to take matters into their own hands. We cut back to Leroy's shop where Evelyn and Peter have broken into it now, are snooping around. Meanwhile, Anne's back on the docks at the cabin with the boombox. She turns it on to meditate, which is weird because normally if you meditate, you want peace and quiet.
Right. You want
not like crazy weird punk music.
Like, I understand the sounds of nature.
Yeah.
Hence the
white noise.
The lapping of the lake.
Yes.
The cicadas, the
Birds
wind
chirp,
through the trees. And then she's decided to play some music on top of it. It's like, bitch, don't you have enough ambient sound?
I take it wrong. It's not the punk music. It's the Fishing for Your Love song again.
Which also has the Devil's Trident.
Well, it's not in that song. It's that song mixed with the cicadas and everything else that makes it happen. So anyway, the cicadas start up again. Evelyn then finds Bev's wedding ring. So this is where that's why I think Evelyn was married to Bev, because he finds this ring, says that's Bev's ring. Like, so I'm like, because I think it makes it like he's the one who gave it to her. So I thought they were the two married ones.
Well, it's not far off.
I mean, he could just know it's her ring because they spent time together. But I assume that they were that he was the husband she referred to earlier.
I like it. Let's go with it.
All right. And Pete then finds a fridge filled with buckets of bloody meat and what looks like about 7-8 pints of ice cream in it. So
ice cream / intestines.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's buckets of like intestines and go on top, and then the bottom of the fridge is like Ben and Jerry's ice cream pints at the bottom or something like that. I'm like, who knows? Leroy had a sweet tooth, I guess.
Who likes Cherry Garcia?
Pete pulls out one of the buckets. Evelyn says, "There's your friends, man." And Pete still insists that the sheriff won't buy this as evidence since it's not an actual body.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. It's insane.
Clearly human remains. Nope, not an actual body. Sheriff won't buy it. He won't stop Muskegee madness.
Nope. So he puts the bucket of guts back in the fridge. So I guess it won't spoil or something.
Gotta put this back in the fridge.
Back to Anne. The cicadas get louder as we see Leroy in his rowboat rowing up behind her to the dock. Anne doesn't see him since she's meditating with her eyes closed. Leroy picks up his fishing pole, casts his lure at Anne.
But he's like, arr, arr.
Yeah. The hooks of the lure hook into her hand. She screams, gets up, starts to run away, but stops to pull the hooks out.
She pulls the hooks out, and she actually does something smart here. She lassos the lure around.
See, I didn't know if she did that intentionally or if she just, when she dropped it, it just got caught on the
she wrapped it around so he couldn't, reach
Okay, I didn't realize she did it herself. I thought it just happened.
She wrapped it around herself.
Okay, so she pulls the bucket and then wraps around the ladder that's from the dock into the lake. And then she runs for the gondola thing. But it's at the top of the hill, so she has to wait for it to come all the way back down, which makes zero sense.
Right.
Because she would have had to have used it to get down here in the first place, so the gondola should be down there waiting for her already.
Or she just walked
down. That's my next point, because the gondola starts, it's super slow. It's like the slowest moving thing in the world. Leroy's struggling with his reel, trying to reel it back, untangle it.
He says, fuck it. He clips it.
He clips it.
And then has to tie a new lure.
So he has the time to tie a new lure line, reline his pole, attach the new lure as Anne continues to stand there waiting for the gondola. Which pisses me off because there's no reason she has to stand there in the first place.
Just get away from the lake.
It's not like this is cliffhanger. There's not like a big gap or gorge or ravine separating her from anything. She just walk up the slightly steep hill and run. Like, why are you standing there?
Walk up the goddamn hill.
Exactly. But
this isn't a mountain.
It's not.
It's not like a 90 degree.
It's not the Swift's Alps and you're waiting for your ski lift. It's just a fucking hill.
Go up the hill.
And I mean, this bitch can literally run up the hill, but it's God. She just stands there. She stands there so fucking long that Leroy has time to completely relure his fishing pole, and row his boat around the other side of the dock to where Anne is. And rowing a boat is not a speedy endeavor.
No. And even when he comes in the line of sight, all she has to do is either one, walk up the hill, or two
sidestep
behind
there's like like a
cabin.
Yeah, it's not the cabin. It's like a boathouse or there's some building
boathouse, cabin, whatever you want to call it.
on the dock. Yeah. So all you have to do, you can sidestep behind the thing.
This is so easy to avoid.
It's the easiest. It's maddening. This is almost worse than fucking Finner. It's so bad.
This is so bad.
Leroy stands up in his boat, casts his line at Anne, who's looking right at him, by the way.
Yeah.
She stands there, not moving, screams. And oh, by the way, this casting shot would be fucking impossible because Leroy would either have to cast the lure up and over the boathouse and hook it onto her from above, or the lure and the line would have to make a 90-degree turn around the building's corner in order to hook onto Anne. But it happened somehow.
You're just not a believer, Marshall.
Not a believer. This guy, Leroy Lucas, is like the fucking Hawkeye of fishing. He is like that. Hawkeye is with a bow. Leroy Lukey is with a fishing rod.
Yeah. Hey man, I've lapped you. I've had like 5 beers.
I'm doing all the talking. Shut up.
Damn.
He's trying to insult my manliness and my drinking ability.
As I sip my beer. Oh, he's down in it now. Attaboy.
There.
All right.
There. It's done. As I pause to...
Have the last beer.
All right, moving on to Natty Light.
Hey, man.
Nothing wrong with that. I drank a shit ton of that in college, man.
Yeah.
It was I remember in college days where you get like a 30-pack for like $8.
You know what's nice about Natty Light, honestly, is that it's incredible. It's cheap. It's light. It doesn't have a lot of flavor.
Smooth.
Goes on, yeah, it's good, but also has a relative for a light beer. I know a lot of people will be like, but for a light beer, it actually has a decent alcohol content.
Well, there you go. Another reason why we loved it so much in college.
Yeah, 4.2 for a light beer. That's pretty good.
I mean, Budweiser itself is like 5. I think 5.
Yeah, and this
Bud
is
heavy.
This is like drinking water.
Yeah,
really.
So anyway, it blacks out as Ann stands there screaming. We go back to the bait shop. We go where Pete and Evelyn are still snooping around when they spot Leroy coming back in his rowboat. So they turn off the lights. They flee the scene and return to their cabin. Pete finds the boombox out on the dock, still playing that "Fishing for Your Love" song. And
Is it a real song?
I looked it up. I couldn't find it. I was trying because I wanted it to play in the opening, the introduction. But I looked up. I typed in on Google. I went to iTunes, typed in "Fishing Up Your Love" or "Fish for Your Love," and I typed in Vicky Lee. Vicky Lee came up, but I couldn't find anything with this song. I don't know, and there were like a couple of different things. So there might be more than one Vicky Lee.
So it might be a real song.
It might be, or it could just be a weird thing that you guys got for this movie.
If they did it for the movie, I must tip my cap because it was a pretty catchy little song.
And definitely like very a period piece. They're definitely for like an old piece from like would have been like the 40s or something like that, 30s or 40s,
50s, something like that.
Yeah. Anyway, Pete, he finds the boombox playing a song and instantly jumps to the conclusion that Lukey has kidnapped Anne and he wants to go after him. Evelyn stops him from basically storming the castle, if you will. But I find it really weird that why would Pete assume that Leroy just kidnapped Anne instead of just killing her like everybody else? It's the weirdest conclusion.
They always have these, and they're always right.
They are always right, but it's like why would you make that?
Like when they find the boat with Rodney's blood, Rodney's been murdered.
Not, oh my God, he's been kidnapped or something's happened.
Or he fell off the boat and he's stranded.
Yeah.
It's always, he's been murdered. Yes, they're correct.
Yes.
But there's no really evidence to point to that.
There's more evidence to that, him being murdered, than Anne being kidnapped.
And so now they're like, she's gone. She must be kidnapped and being held hostage.
Yeah.
Why would you make that assumption?
Exactly. It makes zero sense to me. I don't get it all because there's zero evidence.
More likely that she's fucking
dead. Yeah, exactly. You follow the creative. She's just dead. He killed her. And that would be a bigger payoff for like, I got revenge, and I'm gonna go after kill this bastard, and then holy shit, Anne's alive.
Hooray!
That big moment.
Yeah.
That would make more sense. That would be that would be a bigger like, oh, she's alive moment. Yay! Hooray!
Because they planned their attack based on the fact that she's still alive.
Yeah. So it's just it doesn't make any sense. Evelyn says they need to use proper tactics and smoke Leroy out. And again, Wayne just pops up out of nowhere.
Wayne just pops up. Yo, you guys are going to go attack Leroy? I'm in.
But he's like, what's all this racket about? And this time...
Quit yelling.
This time he's holding a rifle. Pete and Evelyn try to convince him that Leroy is the killer. Evelyn shows him Bev's ring that he found in Leroy's bait tank. The camera cuts to the RV kid who's still lingering around now too. I don't know why.
He's just there.
He's just there.
Like, I love they're panning around those three, and then they just pan over the RV kid. He's like, I'm here too.
I'm here too. And the thing is, like, why? I still don't understand why he's there. And two, he has a sister. Where's his sister? And why is he not with his sister?
Yeah,
If both his parents are missing, don't you think the sister, who isn't like 12, she's like 18, 16, 18, should be taking care of the kid a bit more than this? She's just like, what happened to the sister?
Dude, I think she's taking the role of Bev now.
I guess.
I think she's gonna be the town goody two shoes.
Well, I'm stuck in this town. I might as well just whore it up, I guess.
I'm gonna be the new Bev. I'm gonna be nice to everybody and give everybody blowjobs. All right.
Anyway, the RV kid says he has the lucky bullet from, he guys he stole from
He's like, yeah.
Leroy's shop somehow.
What a shitty kid. Yeah, I stole this bullet, this lucky bullet from his shop.
And
what about it?
And he gives it to Wayne, saying he got it from Lukey's. And it just fucking, it's insane.
And Wayne goes back and
he starts crying.
He starts telling the story again.
And he's like, Leroy must have cut the bullet out of Van Cleese, that bastard. Oh. And Wayne suggests that Pete and Evelyn use themselves as bait to lure Leroy out. They agree to this plan and set out to put it in motion.
Yes.
Pete gets in the rowboat, rows out onto the lake.
Here we go. Look, we're gonna put our plan into action.
Yes, they are. Back at the bait shack, Ann is talking to Leroy, trying to get him to set her free, and she's talking to this guy like she's having Sunday morning tea with her best friend.
Yeah, she's bound. Her hands and feet are bound.
Yes.
She's sitting on the shelf or the counter.
Yes.
While Leroy Lukey is getting all of his weapons of mayhem gathered together, sharpening axes and what have you. And she's like, well, I understand if you want to kill me, but let me tell you why you shouldn't have to kill me. I believe that, just going on and on and on, just trying to, like, psychologically outmaneuver him.
Yeah.
But he's not having any of it.
No.
He's not listening to any of this. No. It's kind of comical. It's obviously done for comic relief.
Yeah, I think so.
But at the same time, it's just not that good.
It's not. Pete's arrived at the bait shop now. He's sitting out on the lake in his boat. He pulls out a revolver, then grabs the boombox, turns it on for a split second, then he just turns it off again.
Starts to panic.
Yeah.
Starts to hyperventilate.
And still in there talking Leroy's ear off. He's had enough of her, just shoves her inside his fridge and closes the door on her.
He clears out his fridge and shoves her in there. She's like, okay. I love that she goes, okay, look, listen, Leroy, if you want to kill me, that's fine. I'm an adult and I understand that you want to kill me, but I'm just not happy about it. And I was like, that's kind of funny, the way she's like coming to terms with her fate.
Yeah. Out on the boat, Pete starts hearing Ann's voice in his head, telling him that he's too afraid to do anything. He's too afraid to make any noise, and he's not going to do anything. And now it crossfades to the sun rising over the lake. Wayne and Evan are sitting in their truck, I guess, staking out the bait shop. And I'm like, whoa.
How long has this been going on?
You're telling me they've just been sitting out there all night doing nothing? And I'm like, so much for the urgency of rescuing Ann. Like, we got to get her. Let's sit in our truck for 12 hours and do nothing.
Well, the plan didn't go off. I guess breakfast is on me.
Yeah, let's go to the diner.
Yeah.
Evelyn and Wayne get pissed when they see Leroy going out fishing for the morning.
Yeah, I know. He goes out fishing.
Because that means Pete pussed out and didn't do his job. So Wayne decides to do it himself. We cut to Pete still sitting in the rowboat on the lake, just like rocking. He's just sitting there.
He's got his head down.
Yeah.
Just sitting there forlorn like, I'm a pussy.
Yeah, like, I didn't do anything. So he sat there all night, did nothing.
And guess who?
And also I find... This is a nitpick, but I find funny that the rowboat didn't move an inch either. Like the currents, the way it didn't move, drift ashore. It just sat perfectly in the middle of the lake, right where he left it, all night long.
Unless he dropped anchor.
There was no anchor on that thing.
Who knows?
But
I love it.
Then we see Lukey in his fishing boat coming up behind Pete.
Slowly buzzes him.
Buzzes the tower.
In the most polite way of saying.
And he's like, good morning.
The most polite way of talking shit. Good morning.
Yeah. He's like, good morning. How you doing there?
To which Pete replies, you son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Because Leroy's so polite and so nice, and he just drives on past Pete. Pete sees like Ann's robe and his fishing boat, and he's like, fuck you, Leroy. I'm going to kill you.
He doesn't do anything.
He does nothing. He just sits there. Next, we see Wayne in his fishing boat with his rifle. We go back to the festival where Leroy is being announced as the new leader with a fish weighing just under 50 pounds. Wayne charges the stage, shouting that Leroy is the one doing all this.
With his gun.
With his rifle.
With his rifle, he's like literally got him dead to rights.
Yes.
Rifle in the face.
The sheriff comes up, grabs Wayne, takes the rifle from him, and just says, Wayne, get out of here, go home.
Wayne, stop being you.
Just get out of here, go
Stop
home.
being so wacky.
And the crowd just claps for Leroy, being the new leader in the contest. And that's it. And then we see Wayne pleading with the sheriff.
And he's like pleading with he's killed a bunch of people. He's a murderer. All those missing people he shot to the bits. And the sheriff's like, listen, man, I just gotta get to the weekend. Yeah. We'll get on it next week.
I gotta get to this festival, man. They're saying, this is our big festival. Just get out and go home, Wayne.
It reminds me of the sheriff or the mayor in Jaws. Remember in Jaws when
I thought you were going to the mayor / town president of Avalanche Sharks. We're like, we gotta get through the ski weekend,
dude, it's
man.
The same thing.
Everybody's getting murdered. There's Avalanche Sharks, but we gotta keep the ski lodge open.
It's probably a better analogy, considering we reviewed that movie. And Jaws is a classic.
Yeah.
So yes, like Avalanche Sharks, we just gotta make it through this weekend, man. And I promise, I'll get right on the case. I'm not gonna scare 30,000 people fishing.
Yeah. And again, for 30,000 people, this like the giant fishing contest weekend, we only see like 3 people fishing. You see Double D, Wayne, Lukey, and Finner. So 4 people. In a place that's supposed to be overrun with tourists and fishermen, there's only 4 people ever fishing.
Must be a giant lake, man.
So Pete's back at his dock fishing. So Pete has gone home and he's just fishing.
So
he's given up. He's like, fucking, he doesn't care about anything. He's just fishing.
Fuck everything. And he's just casting off the dock.
And Wayne drifts up to the dock, gets out, and he's going on a rant like Wayne always does.
It's like, how dare you be such a pussy?
Yeah.
Why are you here?
And Pete demands that Wayne teach him how to cast as good as his grandfather because he's going after Leroy. I'm like, whoa, wait, what? So what? You're really going after and going to war with a crazy serial killer, and your weapon of choice is a goddamn fucking fishing rod? Like, this is so fucking stupid, especially since we just saw that Pete had a goddamn revolver in his boat, and Wayne is holding a rifle in his hand right in front of him. I'm like, so why not just take them? And he's like, nope.
Nope, I'm going to beat him at his own game and cast.
But he's going to beat him with the power of casting.
With ridiculously large lures. And I'm hoping to hit him and hoping to hurt him.
Wayne even has the good sense. Wayne's like, Pete, that's insane. You can't beat Lukey at his own game.
Hey, look, here's a gun. I have a gun right. He even basically says, I have a rifle.
He says, take the rifle and go.
Take the rifle
shoot Lukey.
And shoot that fucker.
Like he should have done last night. He says that. He says, go take it and shoot him like he should have last night.
He's like, nope. I'm going to fucking outcast that fucker. It's going to be a battle of lords.
And the best part is Pete, the way he I have this audio clip, so you're going to listen to it because it's awesome. But I gotta talk about the end of this clip when we get to when we come back. So, I got a lot more to say about it. It's awesome. Hold on.
This night was a goddamn disgrace. When things done right around here, you got to do them yourself. Your grandfather did. Fight for what you love.
That's exactly what I'm doing. Teach me to cast this thing as good as my grandfather. I'm going after Lutke.
There are better ways to do that, son. Granddad was no fool. Wasn't no big talker, neither.
You just gonna talk or teach me to cast?
You can't beat Lutke at his own game, son. Now you take my piece here and do what you should have done last night. You want things perfect, don't you? You want the perfect revenge on the man. You want to take him like he took the rest. You want to take him with a treble hook at night. Don't you? Don't you, Van Cleese?
Not yet. Don't call me Van Cleese yet. I've got to fight for it.
All right, so that's the clip.
Don't
and,
call me Van Cleese yet.
My God, I love this scene.
That's his fucking name.
I know, but I love the fact that this movie just became like a samurai revenge movie. He's like, I haven't earned that name yet. He basically just became like Inigo Montoya or something like that.
It's like the Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
Teacher, you killed my teacher.
And the music, boom, 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 and then Wayne's like, "You want the perfect revenge?" Like monologuing like this
he's
inner
basically
thought.
like, take the gun, shoot the guy.
Well, I love.
And then he's like, he just keeps casting. He's like, oh, you want the perfect revenge?
You want to get him at night with a treble hook,
You
don't
want-
you? Don't you, kid?
Teach me how to cast.
While I'm listening to this clip, I'm thinking one thing. It brings me back to that one, like the opening of the Liquid Swords song, like the jizz album, like do 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 do. My father was the greatest samurai in the empire. Like,
This kung fu story.
and like that clip could be used on like a weird like Wu-Tang rap song.
Yeah,
really good.
Like the Wisconsin version.
The Wisconsin thing, yeah.
The Wisconsin EP dropped.
Yeah.
Very few people know about it. It's a hot EP.
36 carps of danger.
I love it. Welcome to the 36 Carps.
Okay, anyway.
It's the ghost face caster.
So then it ends, and we see Wayne, like Pete cast, and Wayne comes over and like starts showing him how to cast.
Like
and,
adjusting his technique.
I'm like, please give me a
Yes.
casting montage
Yes.
right now. I wanted that so badly.
I wanted that too.
I wanted to see like targets on the wall and like they keep missing, and then like hits the target perfectly, and
Wayne's like,
yeah,
gives him a thumbs up. He's blindfolded after a while.
Yeah, he's
casting. He's doing one hand, the other hand, left to right.
And then Wayne just says like, "You're ready."
And Wayne just nodding in the background. And it's like
Eye of the Tiger playing.
Metal, like hair metal plays in the background.
Eye of the Fish
Yeah.
or something. I don't know.
Eye of the sockeye.
Eye of the Trout. Eye of the Trout. There we go. Keep the T's. Eye of the Trout. Oh, I wanted that so bad, but it didn't happen.
Casting long. Your reel's on fire. Here we go. Fish for desire. I feel like we can make something out of this.
That was like kind of reminded me of the Bloodsport song.
Yeah, that was.
Go take.
Casting long.
Casting long. Casting.
We can do this all day, guys. We really could. We need to keep going.
So, we just cut to later that night. Peter's back in his rowboat outside the bait shop. This whole, oh my God, from here on out, it's amazing. He turns on the boombox, cranks up the volume, grabs his fishing pole. Hearing the music, Leroy Lukey comes out of his bait shop with his fishing pole of death,
And
screaming in
he's
pain.
screaming in pain, holding it.
Leroy runs to the end of the dock where he and Pete lock eyes and seem to have a bit of like an Old West style standoff. There's kind of, it's like a Mexican standoff or something. Like I'm waiting for that whistle beat, whatever you call it. Leroy screams in pain from the music, which, by the way, isn't even playing anymore. Like they forgot to keep the music playing in this scene. It's just gone. The filmmakers just forgot about it.
No shit. That's a good point.
So why he's screaming in pain makes zero sense because it's perfectly silent. The two of them stare at each other with fishing poles cocked and ready, like they're holding guns, about ready to shoot, but they're standing there with fishing poles cocked and ready.
They're having a fucking showdown.
It's a standoff with fishing poles.
Muskegee ducks.
Leroy casts his line at Peter. The large lure hooks into Pete's chest.
Oh no!
And Leroy's like, "Oh, he got him!" And Leroy starts reeling it in, but Peter tries to pull. He grabs the line with his one hand, like pulls against it. He tries to pull Leroy his way. So then Pete has this badass moment. This should be his big climactic moment where the good guy rises up. It should be like the iconic scene in the first Avengers movie when the camera pans around, all the Avengers circle together in the middle of the Battle of New York, and that music score hits. It's so iconic. That's what this is supposed to be like. Is you see Pete, He's got the lure in his chest. He's fighting with the line. He stands up and he lifts his fishing lure up, his fishing pole head, and he, with one hand, he casts at Leroy, and his lure hits Leroy in the chest. And Leroy is trying to reel it back. And while his other hand, Pete's fighting with holding his fishing pole, and they're playing tug of war with each other. The lines. And
there's so many.
So both of them have these giant fishing lines hooked into their chest, and they're both yanking each other back and forth, wincing and grunting and screaming in pain. Leroy continues to reel in Pete, who has now collapsed, seemingly dead in the rowboat for some reason.
Collapsed. He can't take it anymore.
No, he's done.
The fucking fishing hooks and his chest are too much.
Too much.
He falls forward, slumped over, and Leroy reels in his unconscious body.
We cut to inside the bait shop. Leroy's sharpening one of his giant fishing filleting knives, while Peter lies unconscious on the floor.
Bloody chest and all.
Yes, Peter wakes up and slowly reaches out and pulls the boombox, which I think is bullshit that the boombox would even be here in the first place. Because why would Leroy bring that in with him? Why would he keep something that causes him so much pain and forces him to go on a crazed killing spree? It would make more sense for him to throw it in the lake and just be done with it. But nope, it's there. Pete pulls it over to him, pushes the button on the boombox, turns it on. He stands up holding it up. Leroy cowers from the boombox in pain, and it's like he looks like a vampire cowering from a cross,
or Frankenstein from fire.
Yes, that's what I was. Yeah, that's what I was saying for.
So
and the visual of this is fucking ridiculous.
Peter standing up, holding.
He's like say anything. This guy.
Yes,
he's like say anything.
He's
Leroy,
holding full arms extended. Shoving the boombox in his face,
and Leroy's like.
The music's horrible.
The music is so overpowering that Leroy can't do anything except flail around and then just lean up against and over his counter. He's powerless. He's powerless. He's just draped across the counter. With Leroy out of commission, Pete sets the boombox down on the bait tank, opens the fridge door. Out comes Ann.
You hear Ann on the other side going, Peter, boom, 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 boom. She's pounding on the fridge.
Out she comes. They hug.
She's alive.
During the hug, they back into the boombox, knocking it into the bait tank full of water, which shorts it out. With the music gone, Leroy, the music vampire, recovers.
Yeah, the music vampire.
That's what it is. It's exactly what he does. It's like when the cross gets broken, knocked out, he's like,
my energy is returning. My power is increasing.
That's exactly what this is. And he grabs his large fillet knife, and he's Peter's like standing in front of Ann, and Leroy Lukey's standing. He's got his arm raised. The fillet knife's about to come down. He's like, ah! And then we hear police sirens coming this way, and this gives Leroy pause. He's not sure what to do. He looks at the Peter again. He starts to move towards Peter. He looks like he's about to stab Peter and kill him, but he just slams the knife down on the counter, runs out the back door of his shop. We see Leroy run out of frame and into the woods with the sounds of twigs breaking as he runs away.
Yeah.
Then the movie just fades to black, fades in on the next morning. Pete and Ann are in the car.
And Kirsten too.
Driving away. They stop by the giant Muskie statue. They
stare
at it for one last
look.
Memories.
Oh, that was a fun trip.
And then they just drive away. Cut to Wayne and the sheriff outside the bait shop. By the way, we haven't talked about this yet, but this bait shop looks like it's one strong gust of wind from collapsing.
It's pretty shitty looking.
And I mean, Jason's rundown shack from Friday the 13th Part 2 looks more structurally stable than this bait shop does.
It's pretty rickety.
The sheriff asks Wayne for his help tracking down Lukey because apparently no one knows these woods better than Wayne.
And to which Wayne replies, I don't know it as well as Lukey.
Yeah, that's exactly. Wayne looks down on his hand, and we see in his palm he's holding the lucky bullet. The sheriff says to Wayne one more time, "So will you help me?" Wayne closes his hand around the bullet. Makes a fist, looks up at the sheriff and says, "The best I can." And we cut to scenic shots of the lake and its coastline. Birds are chirping. It's beautiful. The cicadas start to get all loud again. And we hear the sound of Leroy screaming in pain in the woods somewhere. Blackout. Roll credits. That's Bloodhook, guys.
Jesus.
And I gotta ask, though, like, what the fuck happened to Kirsten? Like, she comes back from this traumatic experience on this boat. She's freaking out. And Peter's like, okay, just go inside, call for help. We'll see. We never see her again. She is not involved in the plot to help get their friend back.
I thought she was in the truck
It
going
was
home.
Anne. It was
I thought it was her too.
No,
I
I just
her
saw-
in the back seat.
I saw Anne in the back seat and Peter in the front seat.
I thought she was in the same car. I thought
I
she
was
in the car,
looking
too.
for her. I was desperately looking. All I saw was Peter in the front, Anne in the back, because they want to get both them shots looking out the same side of the car for that shot of the statue.
So Kirsten,
but then when they drive away, I'm looking for three heads. So all I see are two. Kirsten just disappears as far as I know.
Maybe Kirsten hooked up with a RV girl.
Maybe her an RV girl.
And just decided, you know what? Let's be lesbian lovers out here in the woods.
It's just, they just like, it's like the writers just forgot about the entire character completely.
Yeah,
Like,
why'd they even bring her back?
Yeah, it's like,
why'd they even bring her back?
Yeah, exactly. Why bring her back if she's not going to do anything in the outcome? She's not going to help solve it or win the day. She's just there.
Dude, it's so funny. I bet you anything the actress is like, look, I don't want to die. Fuck it. I don't want to be some dead bitch. I don't want to be another body count. Fine, we'll bring you back. You're useless.
I doubt that because it's not like she had any pull. It's like it's not like it's Scarlett Johansson on the whole camera saying, "Nope, I'm not doing this."
I'm making an excuse, man. Okay. I got nothing. Why did they bring her back? It makes no sense.
There's no anyway. That's Bloodhook, guys. Let's move on to our favorite kills.
There can be only one favorite kill.
All right, favorite kills. Aaron.
They all suck. They all, like, last week we had nothing but throat slits. This week it's nothing but fucking lures in the chest. And that's not, I'm sorry. That's not going to kill you.
Yep.
That is not going to kill you. It's going to hurt really bad. It's really going to hurt. If a fishing lure with 9 hooks got hooked onto my arm or chest or something, I could tear it off and be like, ah! It hurts, and it's gonna hurt, and it's gonna hurt so bad, and it's gonna suck so much. Is it gonna kill me? Probably not. The chances are very, very low of that killing you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so weak. It's so weak.
The only one that might actually would come close to being a kill would be the RV mom, because it went around her neck, and the more he pulls on it, it would tighten around. So you could say, and it's fishing line. That could
sure.
We've seen people like in old movies like use like a piano wire as a garrote or something, but basically like, and it rips through the skin. Mm-hmm. So that's the only one you could kind of make. I mean, that could be an actual
Colombian necktie.
Yes.
Type of thing. Yeah. Luca Brasi got it in Godfather.
But anyway, let's. Yeah.
But yeah, my favorite is probably going to be Finner.
Really?
Yeah, because it was so ridiculous. He got in the side of the face, ripped off his ear, jumped overboard, and said, "Oh shit! Should have done that." Try to climb back on the boat as it's getting reeled in. He's still hanging on.
It's a gapping hook, yeah.
It's so stupid.
It is so dumb.
Stupid. It's so dumb. But I like to follow up with the fish hook through the bottom of the jaw.
Yeah, the follow-up, that was a good effect. But I gotta say, as much fun as I had laughing my ass off at that scene, I think my favorite kill is actually Rodney. Just because he gets it in the crotch.
He does.
Then what made me laugh, not at the stupidity of Finn's choices, but the fact that when he's getting yanked back, he gets smacked headfirst into the motor, which made me chuckle, like, oh. And then he gets dragged into the water. Rodney was my favorite kill for that week. All right, so that's that. Let's move on to the odds and ends.
Not only did they watch these films, they researched them too. Ugh, what is wrong with these guys?
All right, ratings. IMDb gives it a 4.2 out of 10. It has no thermometer score, but it's a 31% audience score. Huh. Amazon, 3 out of 5. Plot keywords, there were 59 plot keywords.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's so weird how some of these movies have so many.
Yeah, and then others have like none. Include 59, including fishing contest, night swimming and midnight swim, bare breast, which is a long shot because technically Wisconsin, fishing lure, and rod and reel.
True.
So there you go. Trivia. There was actually quite a bit of trivia on this. Some I left out.
Really?
Yeah. So the community of Hayward, Wisconsin, where this film was set, actually does exist. It's a real place, and the giant fiberglass muskie statue is a real local landmark. This one's kind of interesting. In the television show Parks and Recreation, one of their Halloween specials in 2012, Bloodhook is a scary movie that plays at the Pawnee City Hall Scary Movie Night, but they refer to it as Death Canoe 4. The film.
That's when Rita's gonna. That's when fuck, what the character's name is. It's gonna drive me nuts.
Well, do you remember the actor?
Yeah, her name is Rita. It's just one word.
Oh, yeah, the fat black lady. Yeah.
Yeah. What's her name in the movie? Television
Rita's
show?
the actor. Yeah, her Donna.
Yes.
Donna.
Donna's like live tweeting it the whole time.
Yes.
Yeah.
The original title was called Muskie Madness. In fact, many of the cast and crew still refer to the film by that title. However, when Troma picked it up for distribution, they didn't think people would know what the hell a muskie was, so they changed it to more generic Bloodhook.
Makes sense.
Yes. Most of the crew came from public television background. The crew. The house used for Peter Van Cleve's lake cabin belonged to the grandparents of writer producer Dave Herbert. The cabin is located on Owen Lake in Wisconsin and was also used in popular beer commercials for its scenic beauty.
Sweet.
Star Lisa Todd was originally supposed to show her breast on screen during the lovemaking scene with Mark Jacobs, but declined during the shoot. The scene was then filmed with her back to the camera.
Oh, we got a little side titty.
Yeah.
Man, I kind of wanted to see him too, because she is tan.
She is really tan.
She's a good-looking girl.
She was. They were both good-looking girls.
Very tan. I'm like, okay, let me see. Like, she's.
And honestly, when we see that side too, like, oh, those are a lot bigger than I thought they were going to be.
Yes!
Because the whole movie, she's like very fluffy. She looked much smaller chest, and then I'm like, oh, there's a nice surprise.
No, that's a titty.
That's a titty. Speaking of Lisa Ann, despite later becoming friends, Lisa Todd had a disagreement with Mark Jacobs, and the two did not speak to each other during most of the production, which made that makeout scene very awkward. Makeup special effects Jim Sellers got pulled over for speeding one night on his way to production. Much to his alarm, the policeman noticed his car was full of fake body parts, which they were going to be for the movie. However, the Sellers showed him the props and demonstrated how they worked. He was let out of the speeding ticket.
Nice.
The giant fishing lures that the killer uses were made of styrofoam, and the hooks were made of nylon. And the MPAA threatened to give Bloodhook an X rating for the shot where Finner has a fishing rope drove through his mouth.
Really?
Later, a deal was struck, and the remade, and the shot stayed in the film. Obviously, there are some more. There's one piece of trivia I didn't write down because I couldn't verify it, but so take it what it's worth. But there's one lady who wrote something down that said who lived in the area. Like, so I lived there when they were filming this. I'm from this area, and she said that there's that during the shooting that a kid died in the lake from running into a boat propeller, like got caught up by a boat propeller.
Holy shit!
But nobody ever talked about it, and it was kind of covered or something like that. But I was like, I can't verify. I couldn't verify it. I looked. I couldn't say like that could just be some lady. Like I'm just making up shit to sound good on the internet.
But that's an obscure one to like make something up on.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's so obscure to make something on that. It's like no one's really going to challenge it. It's not like saying, "Oh yeah, I was there when they shot Avengers and Endgame, and fucking this kid died and exploded." Because so I don't know. I couldn't verify it. If it's true, that's crazy. If it's not, I don't know. All right. Anyway, moving on because we're running long. It does bring us to this week's budget game.
Shit.
They spent how much? The budget game.
All right, Aaron, you get to guess the budget of the 1986 Bloodhook.
$300,000.
God damn, you're getting better at this game. That was a fast guess. You're so off, but you're fucking close. $200,000.
Yeah!
So I'm giving you the win again. I'll give you the win for that.
Nice.
That was the fastest budget game ever. There was Jesus Christ. So all right, well there's that.
I was just like, I think I got it. I was like looking. I'm thinking. I'm like, okay, yeah. $300,000.
All right, well, there's that. Let's move on to this week's 5-star reviews.
Is this your guilty pleasure? 5-star reviews.
5-star reviews. There were 29 total reviews on Amazon. 45% are 5-star, 31% are 1-star.
Ooh.
So here we go. From Is Me, entitled As Close to Perfect as a Movie Can Come. Bloodhook is a tour de force of understated filmmaking and a masterclass in meta storytelling. It has all the components you need to create an epic theater experience. Blood, fish, hooks, cicadas, and muskies. I defy you to name a single film that brings all 5 of these essential cinematic elements together with such elan. No other film comes close to capturing the horror and banality of upper Midwest competitive fishing. Don't listen to the chum. Marvel for yourself at this genre-defining documentary about the perils of mixing recreation with bad music and cicadas. 5 stars.
True. No other film does combine those things.
Very true. From I bought this stuff. He writes, terrible movie, but I had to buy it. Smiley face. Good for the price. 5 stars.
Okay.
What? From Mudjack, a lesson on fishing in the waters of your personal fears. That's the title of his review.
Jesus.
Bloodhook is more than just a classic thriller. It is a lesson on dealing with the demons we each face in our lives. Peter, I have to fight for that name. Van Cleese returns to his childhood sanctuary to face the nightmare of his past. The big treble hook that took out his grandfather. Rather than continuing his 17-year run from the challenge, Peter took his best shot at doing what was right in his climactic final scene. I won't spoil it for others, but trust me when I say you will leave this movie with the willpower to face the Leroy Lukis in your life. Entertaining, fun, and inspiring. 5 stars. From JCA, no need for a fillet knife. This movie will split you wide open from laughter. 5 stars.
Not bad.
Last 2. All right. From Mr. Bick. This movie saved my life. Prior to watching, I was just a weak person, barely able to face the challenges in my meager life. Heck, just walking upstairs from my mom's basement made me shake with fear, partially because of the pit bull. But now I'm a changed man. Bloodhook equals steroids for me. Now I get up each day ready to tackle the Leroy Lukis in my life. Last week, it was walking through some of those crazy skateboarding kids, and yesterday, it was a TV dinner. Who knows what it will be today, but one thing is for sure. With the thoughts of the venerable Peter Van Cleese in my mind, I'm sure to overcome the challenge. Some people have Tony Robbins or Zig Ziglar. For me, it's Bloodhook. If you're looking for a confidence boost or a roadmap to tackling life's challenges, this movie is for you. Thank you, Peter Van Cleese. 5 stars.
Nice review. That's funny.
And last one from Irene Kaczynski. Okay, this wasn't trivia. This is what I was talking about the kid. So it was a review. Okay, so here's what it says. Okay, well, I don't own this yet, but I'm looking forward to seeing it. Good star on a 5-star review.
Yeah.
I live in Hayward, Wisconsin, where the movie is filmed, and have got to say, you mentioned the words Bloodhook around here. Everyone just laughs because they all know about this cheesy Bill B film. However, worth the watch. I live 2 miles from where they shot scenes from this movie and have to fill everyone in on what really happened. During one day of filming, they were shooting a boat scene, and no one knew the area wasn't cleared, and a kid got sucked into the motor and it died. It was really gory, and yeah, but whoever was swimming in that area was crazy because it's nasty water anyway. Anyways, take this from someone who lives there where they filmed this. Watch it, if not for the horror, but for the laughs. It will surely give you musky madness. Ha ha. However, this town annually celebrates a musky fishing tournament and ends with a festival called Muskie Fest every June. Enjoy! 5 stars.
I know where we're going next year.
Damn right.
We're going to Muskie Fest.
And we're going to record live.
It's a little too late now.
Yeah, but next year... I don't know, June, we could hightail it up there, man. But that's why I said take it out with a grain of salt. Because she says, oh, yeah, kid just got sucked into a propeller and he died. And it was really gory. And, like, you think something like that in a small town, they probably shut down production or someone happened, you'd hear about that. And also, I don't know. I've been around boats. You can't really get sucked into if it's like, I'm assuming it's a boat, like a motorboat, the fishing boat, outboard. You can't really get sucked into those things too easily because they're not that powerful.
You get hit by it, basically.
You get hit by it. If you run into it, yeah, it'll kill you.
It'll fuck you up,
but it's not unless they're going to suck you into it, unless you're already like, have your face like right in front of the thing. I mean, yes, barges on the Mississippi River, you can get sucked under their undertow and get sucked down and drown that way, but you're not going to get sucked into an outboard motor. So take that for what it's worth. But the rest of the review is interesting.
Pretty fun.
Yeah, pretty fun. All right, so that's that.
Here we are.
Here we are.
That's the end of the fishing trip.
And fishing trip's coming to an end.
Yeah,
Aaron, what's your final?
Time to box up the tackle.
Yep.
Time to put away the custom reels.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna have to say, it's so bad it's scary. It just felt like it missed the marks for what it could have been. The effects were bad. There was an effect of the guy of Finner getting the thing through the jaw. The effects were bad. The opportunity for camp was so ripe. so ripe for fun, campy ridiculousness. And they just didn't do it right. And maybe it's because it was in the early 80s or mid 80s where they just were still trying to like find their way through like how campy can you be. Because they just they didn't push it, they didn't go anywhere, they didn't do anything new, they didn't do anything different from what we were seeing from that era, you know? And I'm sorry, but man, if 9 fish hooks stuck into my chest right now, I'd be really pissed, but I'd rip it out and scream and go, God damn! You know, it would hurt horribly. I would probably have to go to the hospital, but I'd also be like, fuck you, I'm out, and just leave. You know, the fact that all these people get killed from this way is so dumb. Oh, this movie's just dumb. It's just a dumb movie. I think it had opportunity, but dumb, just dumb, fucking dumb movie. So bad it's scary.
I'm on the other end of the fishing pole than you, man. I'm saying so bad it's good.
Oh, no!
And don't get me wrong, yes, it's a terrible movie. It's insanely dumb. But at the same time, I kind of like it because it's such a unique specimen. It's a fucking fishing slasher horror movie. The premise alone is insane.
I will
and
agree
worth watching.
with that.
But again, like we talk about the Evelyn's crazy rants, Wayne's rants, the Kirsten's not a bad actress. The kills Finner's death are ridiculous. The standoff with Pete and Lukey at the end is hilarious.
When they're dueling casting.
And then like that samurai revenge moment that he is like, teach me to cast like my granddad. I haven't earned the name Van Cleese yet. No. Like, it's fucking hilarious. And the deaths are so bad. Like you said, they're awful. They wouldn't kill you, but
So
watching
bad.
people get yanked around by a giant fishing lure tickled my funny bone, man. I think it's worth a watch because it's such a unique experience. I say so bad it's good.
It definitely is unique. And you know what? Honestly, it was not poorly acted.
No, that's what I'm saying. The acting is not that bad.
All of them did pretty well.
Yeah. I mean, especially coming off of fucking... I mean, we're watching this on the heels of last summer party, so everybody looks like a fucking Academy Award winner now. But yeah, seriously, they're not bad. I mean, you have young, poor man's young Nicolas Cage is the lead, and Ronnie's fine. Kirsten knocks it out of the park.
But it just didn't fucking do it for me.
I get it. That's fine. That's you. That's for you. It
didn't get over the hump. I mean, it felt like they could have been so much more campy and ridiculous and fun and
I agree. They
weird
did
crap.
go a little too serious. If they went a little more campy, I get it too. But at the same time, I love it's so bad. It's so insanely weird. It needs to be watched though because it's such a unique moment of cinematic horror history. It's never again. Like, would you remake this?
No.
Would you want to remake this?
No.
See?
And if I did, I would make it a lot more fun.
Okay.
I do it in way more slapsticky silly.
I'm saying
because it's a fishing killer
I know,
movie.
that's what I'm saying. Never again will you see this. So like, you need to watch this to experience it. So bad it's good. We're split this week. All right, guys. We ran really long this week, but I hope you guys stayed with us. And if you did, I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. We love you all.
Give us a 5-star rating.
Yeah, go on to iTunes and give us 5-star reviews and everywhere else you listen to our show. In the meantime, guys, watch more horror movies and remember to always keep it tight.